Oh, that is so annoying. So annoying. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? Well, we're only back on Twitch. We're only back on Twitch because YouTube tagged me. YouTube tagged me for live streaming while someone is holding a firearm. Now, you'll have to forgive me for not understanding that that was a thing I could be tagged for, considering I'm not the one holding a firearm, obviously. I mean, I do got guns on me, but um I'm not the one holding a firearm, obviously. And there are tons of YouTube channels where people are holding guns all the time. I assume this is some kind of like this is some sort of like, American centric, like mass shooting type of precaution. But it does mean that until they finish my appeal, they won't let me stream on YouTube, which is like super funny, I guess. Uh, because they're afraid that I'll start like live streaming another like shooting. I mean, it should only take like 24 hours, but I'm not going to stop streaming. I'm not going to stop streaming for the purposes of that. We'll just have to keep going on here, and then I can upload. Yeah, I can upload, I guess, the live stream, the rest of the live stream onto YouTube after, and people can just watch it there. I know it won't be as engaging. Huh? You weren't shaking your head and saying no. I know it won't be as engaging for the people on YouTube later to not have been part of the conversation. But Trey Trey Bazaar, if you ask me, I think it's pretty silly. But it is what it is. Hold on one second. I gotta update the titles again. Update. All right. All right. You know, there is no YouTube chat. There are no YouTubers. It's just me in the Twitch world, which is fine. This is why I have a backup channel ultimately, or one of the reasons why we have two channels. Um, it is kind of annoying, obviously, but life is life is full of these little annoyances, right? Hold on, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. I'm just like I'm just checking to make sure that they haven't passed, that they have not mm, that they have not what's what I'm looking for. They've not granted me the ability to stream just while I'm not paying attention. All right. All right. All right. I'll give people who are perhaps possessing the possibility to come over here, and then I guess we'll hop right into. Well, I do kind of want to finish this Cuban story since we did not get to it. That's so funny. It is so funny that like it's so specific to live streaming with a firearm in your hand. What a world we live in, man. Mm-mm-mm. I guess good to know. Of course, this happens when I'm sick. Well, actually, I don't mind because I'm not that sick, and so ultimately, it does give me something else to focus on besides being sick. Oh, let me put my thing back on the screen. It is quite annoying, though. Quite annoying. I hope they accept my appeal. Do you think they'll accept my appeal? Do you think they'll go like, "Oh no, like you were still violating the spirit of the rules"? I don't want to be banned from live streaming on YouTube for something so stupid. Zake Buddha, thank you for the thing. I was spiritually violating the rules. You have to be in school for it to be okay. Yeah, they're gonna throw the book at me. Yeah, I think it just takes 24 hours minimum. No, I'm pretty sure they'll accept the appeal. They have an executioner en route. Yeah, if I lived in America, they would. Um, let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Huh. Oh yeah, I wanted to watch the story about the Cubans. Obviously, All right. Let's get back to it. Let us get back to it. Mercury's always in retrograde. That's the one thing you learn. So this is from NBC6 Florida. It's a local news affiliate out of South Florida. We're just watching this to get a little bit of an update on the people from Florida, the Cuban expats in Florida who were in the shootout with the Cuban Coast Guard last week when they tried to invade Cuba.
Just after 6 o'clock, and our focus this morning is on that investigation continuing into the deadly shootout at sea, where the Cuban government has released the identities of the 10 men who were on board a boat that came from the U.S., who they say opened fire on their troops during the shootout out at sea.
Yeah, the Cuban government says that the group entered Cuban territorial waters on a boat registered right here in Florida. The boat's operator reported to police that his boat was stolen, but after that shootout. Now, here's what we know so far. The deadly confrontation happened Wednesday near the northeastern coast of Cuba. Cuban officials say its military killed 4 and captured 6 others who were injured after they entered into the waters there. The Cuban government also says the men were armed and initiated the fight. Meantime, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. will be carrying out its own investigation. U.S. officials also telling NBC News that they have requested official access to the injured men that were captured by Cuba.
We're also learning the identities of the men who were killed and the ones captured. The 4 men on your screen are the men who were killed, and we've been able to confirm 3 of their images, their photos. We know it.
Damn, they did them dirty too. This is not the photo I would want to have used. This is not the photo that I would have wanted used in my news story. Yeah, this is like they got this straight from his Tinder. Yeah, RP Goon Lord, crazy.
At least one of them was a U.S. citizen. Here are the names and the photos of 6 people who were detained, including those photos of the ones we've been able to confirm.
Okay, so now we have the detained. So these were the killed. This is the detained list. Let's see what we got. I wonder if the blacked out people are unlockables. No, I was going to really say CIA, but no, they were probably just handled by the CIA. Who's that Pokemon? It's Onyx.
Firm. Our crews have been working around the clock to get in contact with their relatives who live throughout the state of Florida. We are also learning more about the investigation into the stolen boat, which is at the center of this investigation.
Yeah, NBC6's Julia Bagg joins us live all the way down south in Homestead. And Julia, we know deputies were at the home of the suspect accused of stealing that boat.
That's right. I mean, investigators have been everywhere from Big Pine Key and then here in Homestead just overnight, zeroing on this home behind me.
The Cuban government offering its latest update with the reading of a prepared statement. We now know the names of those who were killed during the shootout Wednesday off Cuba's coast. Hector Cruz Correa is among the dead. He's suspected of stealing a boat from Big Pine Key and heading to Cuba. Homeland Security agents gathered evidence focusing on this white Chevy pickup truck, taking neighbors by surprise.
We started to see a cop and then cars, and I said, what's going on?
Case documents from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office show Angel Montera called deputies to report his boat had been stolen from this dock on Avenue G. Montera said he later learned his boat was found off Cuba's coast after a deadly shootout with that country's Coast Guard. Montera told deputies he believed Cruz Correa stole his boat. He said Cruz does tile work for him. The report notes this white Chevy pickup truck belongs to Cruz, and it's the same truck a neighbor spotted Tuesday night. That neighbor said she saw a man get out of the truck and get on the boat. The report goes on to say that Cruz has family in Cuba, including 2 daughters. Montera reported that Cruz was trying to fix a large boat with twin motors and that he even borrowed a trailer from him to hold another large vessel. But Montera told deputies he did not know why Cruz was trying to repair those boats.
No.
NBC6 was there when a Miami-Dade deputy arrived at Cruz's wife's home. She told us she had reported him missing.
Now, we also spoke with Cruz's ex-wife, and she is the mother of his 5-year-old son. She told us she was in shock about what happened, and she did not know how she was going to break the news to her son about his father. Live this morning in Homestead, Julia Bagg, NBC6 News.
Julia, thank you. And as we mentioned, our crews have been working hard to try to get in contact with the relatives of those men who were killed and detained, most of whom live in the state of Florida. We spoke with a woman whose husband is on the list of detainees that Cuba released. She says she was shocked when she heard the news because she thought her husband went to work in another state.
I feel so sad.
Damn. None of them told their wives. That's dirty. That's dirty as hell. This lets me know I need to take more photos. I was thinking that anyway. Sorry, I'm just also checking to see if they have, accepted my appeal yet. I personally would have told my wife. I guess I'm not married, but if I did have a wife, I would tell her about this sort of thing, possibly. But at the same time.
Angry,
steal ships.
worry.
But also, yeah, I got to take more photos. This is what this reminds me of. I was thinking that on my birthday, I was like, I don't take enough photos. I'm going to be old one day and I'm going to think back. I don't have enough photos of myself. Now, obviously, I thought to myself, you stream every day, Brandon. How the hell would, you end up with no visual images of yourself from that time? That being said, though, I just got taken down on YouTube for trying to speak truth to power, I guess. So who knows?
About him.
We also talked with the wife and daughter of another man, Galindo Sariol, another one of the detainees. He is a former political prisoner who has spent time supporting struggles of Cubans on the island. His wife told us in Spanish she has no idea that this plan was happening. She told us that he was going to work, and now, of course, they are fearful. They're worried about their loved ones. And coming up in our next half hour, we're going to hear from more of the families connected to these 10 men.
The Cuban government called this a, quote, foiled armed infiltration. It's no secret that there are several anti-Cuban government groups in South Florida, and several of these groups claim some of their members were involved in that deadly shooting. NBC6, we spoke to one member of Brigade 2506, the Cuban exile military squad involved in the failed Bay of Pigs invasion to overthrow Fidel Castro. That was back in 1961. He tells NBC6 that he feels like negotiation is the only way to establish a democracy there.
We all want a free Cuba, and although we have different ways of achieving that, it's all peaceful right now.
Yeah.
We want to convince the Cuban government that is...
Yeah, this Bob's Burgers character was involved in the first Bay of Pigs, and he's like, they didn't even call me back for the sequel.
Right now, we want to convince the Cuban government that it's time to give up.
Meantime, 4 regime change groups posted a message on social media urging Cubans on the island to take action. Stay here with us at NBC6 as this story continues to develop, of course. We're going to have the latest on air and also across our digital platforms.
Commoner Ganser says, I feel like they're going to need at least 2 boats to overthrow a country, right? Well, I mean, you'd hope. But, you lose when you have 2 boats, you're not as lean as you used to be. Cubans in Florida call for change after deadly shootout at sea. Well, I mean, what do you want them to do? All right. So I guess what's the best place to jump into this news about Venezuela? Not Venezuela. So I get all the countries that we're invading right now confused. What's the best way to jump into this news about Iran? I think maybe it's this video of Congressperson Anna Paulina Luna on MS Now that I saw going around, where she's saying that Iran has killed thousands of Americans in America. Just to, get a light start. We'll have a light start.
Can you just tell me really quickly, where have they killed thousands of Americans in America? I didn't say they killed thousands of Americans in America. I said that they have been responsible for thousands of Americans being killed. And I think that that's easily something that you can verify. I don't know, state-sponsored terrorism for starters. Why don't you, are you serious right now about that whole thing? I'm not going to list out exact specific locations. They've literally been responsible for sponsored terrorism.
Are you talking about the Iraq war where the U.S. invaded Iraq?
You can start out by the 3 that they just killed. Okay, the whole point of your network, if you want to actually talk about the facts, I'm giving you the facts. But I'm not going to
3 isn't 1,000.
It seems like you actually don't have a good understanding of the facts, Congresswoman. You don't have a good understanding of the conflict.
Well, I'm the one that's getting the briefings, not you. You're a pundit offering your opinion because you want clickbait, but aren't actually interested in the substance.
No, not at all.
We can talk about the fact that Obama sent millions upon millions of dollars to the Iranian regime, or do you not want to address that because it's not supported by your opinion and your network?
No, not at all.
Is this really even something that we're going to actually get to substance, or are you going to continue to attack us?
No, it seems like you just want to filibuster. It seems like you don't really want to have a good faith conversation.
Or you just don't like what I'm saying.
No, we would have invited you on the air.
This happens every time I'm on with you.
Yeah, you keep coming on every time, and you keep stating a lot of things that are incorrect.
It's good television.
The United States launched an attack on Iran.
About it, except for you.
The United States launched a war against.
This lady's going to replace Bondi. Once Bondi's out, and she gets tagged with like the Epstein cover-up girl, they're gonna replace her with Anna Paulina Luna.
Against Iran right now, Iran retaliated in which American members.
Strikes.
You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, the Iranians responded and killed 3 American service members. So what we're trying to get at is you make an assertion on this air that it's not an invasion when America sends fighter jets and Israel sent fighter jets into another country.
Boots on the ground are not going to happen. Congress will not vote on war with Iran because that is not something that we support, and that is not something that the administration supports.
That's actually what the Constitution says that in Article 1, but I guess you think Article 2 is more important, so it's up to you.
Article 2 is when the U.S. citizens and our military are in direct imminent threat, the president reserves the authority.
Yeah, well, he hasn't made that case to the American public or Congress, and that's the problem. And that's why he's supposed to go to Congress.
Well, he's not going to give you classified intelligence
information. He's not supposed to give it to me. He's supposed to give it to members of Congress. He's supposed to go give it to members of Congress. That's exactly why members of Congress. You're only one. There are 435 members and 100 senators, and others have not gotten it. You're not the only one who gets to speak on behalf of the American people.
Prior to the strike.
Anyway, unfortunately, we're out of time.
I
really appreciate you coming on.
There you go. You don't want to hear the facts. They got a briefing.
It's not a fact. I'm telling you what other members of Congress have said, and that's the whole point of them being able to have a debate in Congress.
Congress was notified.
That's not what members of Congress say, but really appreciate you coming on here and saying something different. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Really appreciate it.
I mean, I don't think that everyone in Congress was notified. However, I do think that the Democrats at the establishment level knew, right? So like I said before, Democrats don't want to vote on war. They just want war to happen and to be able to sit back and criticize it and go, oh, you didn't let us vote on war. You didn't let us vote on war. Like, you didn't let us go through the proper procedural channels to legitimize the war that we're doing. And we're so mad about that. We're so mad about that we're going to fundraise off of it. And then when you lose presidency and you lose the majority in Congress or the Senate or whatever, we're not going to do anything to punish you. In fact, we're just going to take over stewardship of this war and turn a bad war into a smart war, the way Obama did, right? Like, he turned a bad war in the Middle East that those bad, dumb Republicans started into a smart war that Obama expanded but conducted largely through the novel, the newly burgeoning mechanism of drone warfare. As well as externalizing a lot of our borders in the global South to be, a lot of those wars and a lot of those border skirmishes or asylum issues were happening in like South America and Mexico, being executed by like the Mexican government at the behest of Obama. But yeah, so that's what the Democrats want. So they definitely knew. Like, if they didn't know, they had reason to suspect, and that's why they moved the war powers vote. Not that, like, who knows, maybe wouldn't have been successful, but they don't want to have to take that difficult stance. They want the war to start and then to be able to, like, campaign based on it and then take it over. Prinz says, it sounds like we would vote yes, but you didn't let us vote, which is bad, which is a crazy argument to make to the public. It is a crazy argument, but it's a big part of what's wrong with the international rules-based order, or any kind of, just like at the core of what's wrong of like the Western enactment of that order, where so much of it just serves to exist to legitimize violence that shouldn't be legitimized, to normalize imperialism, to create like a system and create like a procedure by which things that we would normally think are unacceptable become acceptable, by like laundering them through that procedure that we have decided, or that have been decided by slave owners a long time ago, is unimpeachable. Like, yeah, like how can we not do it that way? And so the Democrats would be in favor. They do like that procedure is part of their, or what gives their new identity value, right? That they're the smart party that goes through with those procedures, while Republicans don't. But when it comes to this kind of thing, no, they don't want it. Like they don't want it. They don't want to vote on the war, because they remember the lessons of when they were running in 2008 versus Obama. And Obama was just like, I'm the only one here who didn't vote for the war. The YouTube stream, for those of you who are just joining us, got taken down because of the presence of those like Cubans in the video holding guns, because you're not allowed to have guns in the video if you're live streaming, because it insinuates that you're holding the gun, I think, and you're doing one of those like mass shootings. But obviously that wasn't the case. So I appealed that decision, but they won't let me start streaming on YouTube until like it's been, I guess, broached. Hopefully they will accept my appeal and not totally ban me from streaming for something that silly. However, I do think it is, honestly, would be quite ironic if those 10 Cubans who were completely unsuccessful in toppling the communist government of Cuba with their poorly thought out plan of invasion were successful in toppling the communist show of the Discourse on YouTube. They're not batting zero, right? That's something. They were able to take down Brandonia, when they couldn't take down Cuba. It's a real shame. I guess I should probably post that we're on the stream in the YouTube thing so people can find us. That's a good idea too. I'll make a post in YouTube. I know so much of the stream is being used to just have the stream, just execute the stream, but it is what it is. Let's see what we got here. I already appealed. Thank you. Of the Cubans. Twitch still up. Let me see. Now I have to find my Twitch. Okay. Sorry about that. I hadn't thought to put it up as a post in YouTube. My brain is fried. Okay. Let's get to it. No, I wasn't banned. They just like, if you're seen live streaming with a gun in the video, it can sometimes insinuate that you're holding it, I suppose, as an AI, and like the AI does. And it doesn't want there to be an incident. You know what I mean? And so it just automatically takes the video down and prevents you from like live streaming. Because as you can imagine, if it just took the video down and you just started the live stream up again, doing the same thing, wouldn't be very effective. So yeah, I've already appealed the ban, and they'll likely, I I would hope overturn it. It would be silly if they were like, no, you still violated the rules. I'm like, I don't think that's what the rule. I don't think the rule exists to prevent, I don't know, whatever you want to call me, not journalist, but a cultural commentator who almost has a PhD from talking about gun violence in America. That would be silly. Well, really wasn't gun violence in America. Well, gun violence in the Americas. Anyway, let's continue with the Iran situation. And by situation, I mean the American-Israeli war of pedo aggression. How do we want to start this? Maybe we'll start with the current situation as it pertains to that's so I mean, so much is happening at once, so it's kind of hard to start. Okay, let's start with the current state of the possibility of negotiations. So this is a video from 4 hours ago, because obviously prior to the strike, Operation Epic Fury, Operation Lion's Roar, Operation Epstein's Fury, whatever people are calling it, the United States was pretty deep in negotiations for a new nuclear deal with the people of Iran, with the government of Iran, I should say. In fact, the deal that was on the table was even better for the United States than the deal that John Kerry, as the Secretary of State, had negotiated under Obama. And they were under the impression, the Iranians were under the impression, that the deal was kind of good to go. And so this particular strike took them by surprise, especially after last time when they kind of had the same exact thing happen. And so at the moment, there's been some mixed, I think, reports about the willingness of Iran to come back to the negotiation table at this exact moment. Obviously, and I guess we should have started this particular segment by saying it, Israel did, in their first wave of strikes, decapitation strikes, managed to kill the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini. So there had to be a new secession plan put into place. Now Iran is ruled by, I think, a loose council of leaders, while they continue to, I guess, execute their defensive strategy against the United States and their allies in the region. But we are still in a place where we now don't know whether Iran will be open to negotiating or if they're going to be totally closed off to the possibility of it. When I was listening to that interview between Trita Parsi and Crystal Ball, Trita was saying that there still remains the possibility that they go with this particular deal, the deal that was on the table before the bombing, once a sufficient amount of back and forth has taken place, right? A sufficient amount of attack and retaliation to kind of prove that neither party is one to be trifled with, right? However, can that keep going on forever? Because that seems to be the general, I think, analysis that we hear every time. And I'm not trying to poo-poo it, because it just might be a truth. I mean, it is the way that geopolitics works sometimes in these situations. A lot of times these situations, attacks and reprisals, right, to save face. But I mean, how many times can this really go on before it becomes clear that there's no end in sight for the actual signing of a deal, right? Because Israel just simply does not want a deal to be signed. And in this case, Israel, I do believe, is acting not rogue from the United States, like in the way that you might think a separate state would, but Israel will act in a way that is antagonistic towards Iran, even if it goes against the broader American project, because of what it means for Israel specifically, right? And so it is possible that, like I said, Israel just does not want this conflict to end. Doesn't want the genocide to end. We know that. Doesn't want the ethnic cleansing to end. They're taking more land in the West Bank. They're doing more actions in Lebanon. And so they want all-out war in the region because they want to cleanse the region of all of their enemies. And so a new nuclear deal kind of takes Iran off of the table as a aggressive threat at the moment, which delegitimizes the violence that it wants to commit against Iran. At least, that's what they're afraid of. So it's kind of hard to see an end to like the conflict that Israel is trying to stoke in the region because of what it would mean for like Israel after that conflict. Because I'm still not sold on this whole, you have to forgive me for seeming cynical. I'm still not sold on this whole board of peace thing. I'm not sold on this board of peace thing. I'm not sold that Israel has anything good in mind for like stopping the kinetic onslaught of Gaza, the starvation campaign. They seem to be moving continued unabated in that sense to kill all of those people, right? For their land, or to just displace them permanently by not allowing them to come back after being driven out. And so, this is just part of the greater Israel project. This is just part of what like totally destabilizing the Middle East looks like. And of course that makes the world a lot more dangerous a place for everybody else, right? Total regime collapse, and leaving a vacuum there just means that there'll be a bunch of disparate actors who are clamoring for power. But at the moment, it doesn't really seem like that's the case. To a different point, though, one of the conditions for continued negotiations might be that they have to happen. Well, I think Donald Trump specifically, the boss baby himself. So let's just jump into this Al Jazeera English clip. And I think let's just jump into it after I've spent that entire time talking. But let's just jump into this Al Jazeera clip now to hear the latest state of negotiation possibilities between Iran and U.S. and Israel.
In Iran, the top national security official says there will be no negotiations with the United States. Ali Larijani has accused Washington of plunging the region into chaos. He says Iran did not initiate the aggression and is defending itself. Let's go back now to Tauhid Asadi, who is in Tehran for us. So, Tauhid, the American president told The Atlantic that he is open to talks, says the Iranians asked for talks and he'll go ahead and do them. The Iranians obviously saying something very different. Do you have any sense from Tehran as to what the Iranians may see as the off-ramp for this conflict?
Well, I don't think Iranians at this point may be interested in negotiations, at least based on the latest statements that I have been hearing from my end in Tehran. First of all, it was the Ali Larijani, the Supreme National Security Council Secretary, who is one of the most influential figures in the political establishment of the country and who was engaged in the trajectory of talks with the United States in the past few weeks. He came out very clearly positioning and saying that Iran is not going to negotiate with the United States, and that comes after some reports came out about such a possibility. But prior to that, we've got the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ismail Baghai, telling Al Jazeera, just in an exclusive interview with Al Jazeera, coming out to say that at this point, hopes for diplomacy are not that much colorful. In that interview, he just cited two historical backgrounds in that regard. One, which dates back to June 2025, the country was already engaged in negotiations between Washington and Tehran, while all of a sudden confronted a sort of, I can say, campaign of strikes by the Americans and Israelis while in the very middle of the talks. Also, the same scenario was repeated exactly when the Americans and Israelis started this very recent campaign of strikes, while we were expecting a next round of talks, or I would say two rounds of talks, first between Iran and the UN nuclear watchdog. There was a discussion supposedly or scheduled to be held today, hosted in Vienna by the UN nuclear watchdog IAEA. And then the Abbas Araghchi, Iranian foreign minister, came out to say that progress has been made in the trajectory of diplomatic affairs, and we are expecting a next round of political talks very much soon as next week. This is what we heard from Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in that regard. But right now, the spokesperson and other Iranians are not that much certain about the possibility of diplomatic engagement, seeing the realities on the ground and seeing one other statement, last one if I may, is that they are saying, and they were saying, that we don't negotiate under imposed condition under the shadow of the war. And right now, this shadow of the war has been translated into real act of war.
All right, Tauhid, thank you. Let's go to Rosalind now. So, Rosalind, look, we have a situation where there are no talks. There is no obvious end to this war coming anytime soon, at least. We also now have a new front in this war opening up in Lebanon. Do we know what the American viewpoint is on Israeli strikes in Lebanon? Is there any scenario where the U.S. may get involved in actually striking Hezbollah targets, which would obviously undermine the very ceasefire that they helped broker last year?
The Trump administration has not talked about what Israel is doing in Lebanon. There's also been some reporting that the U.S. may not have considered going to war against Iran unless Israel did so first. That has been pushed back and rejected as a reason why the U.S. has started the military action. But it's worth pointing out that since military action started in the overnight hours early on Saturday, except for two pre-recorded statements from U.S. President Donald Trump, there has not been an on-the-record comment from the administration, except the president speaking to a number of hand-picked reporters by phone on Sunday evening. There has not been a public explanation why Iran, why now, what the end game is.
I mean, the end game is total destabilization of the Middle East, right? Because I think like what we saw in Venezuela, Trump is just not good at the kinds of traditional regime change operations that the United States is, I guess, not known for, but typified by, right? And so I think the absence of skill at that, he has settled on engaging in just total collapse, right? Which has always been a reasonable backup for like regime change and has oftentimes just been the consequence of a failed regime change operation, like in Libya or things like that. You just get total collapse of the region, which also serves to, I think also serves to serve American interests, right? And to give you an example of how that might work, right? Like, let's say you have a country like Iran that is an oil producing country that is allied with your enemies, right? That is providing oil for your enemies. Obviously, the best thing that you would hope for, right? The best thing that you would hope for is that you can control Iran, right? And you get the oil and resources for yourself, right? So like, okay, like, yeah, you know what? We're going to replace the leader of Iran with the Shah and he'll give us his oil and won't give it to our enemies. Perfectly reasonable. But if you can't manage that, if you're just unable to manage that, next best thing is just to destabilize the entire country. And that way, no one gets the oil, theoretically, right? Or to get the oil, it's a lot more difficult, right? If it's not controlled by a centralized government, if it's controlled by, constantly competing series of different, former generals now turned warlords, then it's just going to be harder to deal with that situation at all, right? So it's the next best thing. And it seems like Trump has, I guess, fully embraced that, especially at the behest of Netanyahu. Angelino Barbarino, thank you for the resubscription with Prime. Twitch is a reasonable backup for when YouTube starts tripping. It's a little ridiculous. But I guess it's good to know before I bring out my actual AK on screen, and then I can't just say it was an accident. Gioned 10, thank you for the resubscription. Noam.net, good evening. War is peace. We are bombing towards peace. War crimes for stability. Yep. It's like Peacemaker. All right. The L Factory. Yeah, that's where I work at. Glad the Twitch stream is still popping at least. My Twitch is sick. Some Cubans took it down. Sorry, some Cuban Americans took it down. All right. So Israel and Hezbollah are increasing aggression. Well, I guess it's just Israel, obviously. Let's see how Israel is talking to its own citizens.
Hello. I'm Christine Mundo, and welcome to our special coverage here on DW on the conflicts in the Middle East. That conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran is widening into Lebanon. The Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah launched missiles and drones toward Israel. That was after the killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei. Now, in response, Israel's now launched heavy airstrikes on southern Lebanon, killing dozens and wounding over 100 people. Now, over in Washington, the US President Donald Trump has called on the Iranian people to seize the moment and retake their country. It was in his first address since the killing of Khamenei that Trump told Iranians to, quote, America is with you. He also warned Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps to surrender or face, quote, certain death. Now, with me in studio is DW's Middle East analyst, Shani Rosanes. Shani, let's just perhaps begin with just putting it all into perspective now. We're day 3 into this conflict. Give us a sense of what the status quo is on the ground.
Well, if anybody expected Iranians to go, off and try to retreat, this is not what they're doing. On the contrary, we see a very aggressive Iranian retaliation.
Well, they were expecting something like this, right? You know, maybe they weren't expecting another backstab, but they clearly weren't caught as off guard as they were in June of last year. And they were ready with a different strategy of retaliation, because we're going to get into the kinds of places that they're attacking as well later, with some of the clips coming out of like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, etc. But yeah, they're this is a different strategy than we saw last time. If they plan to continue the sustained campaign, it would demand that, or essentially necessitate, Israel and the United States going into Iran, which neither country wants to do. Right. We've already lost 4 people, 4 military soldiers. Trump has promised to lose as many military soldiers. Trump has promised to kill as many young white American soldiers as he possibly can to accelerate the white genocide. But it would still be very unpopular, even if, he were to do it.
The offense, not just against Israel, which has been, just a constant wave of more and more attacks, basically trying to get Israelis' lives disrupted as much as possible, showing their defiance. Also, at the same time, a lot of operations when it comes to the Gulf and the whole region, actually, from Iraq down to the Gulf. We're seeing the Iranians trying to tackle and hit American targets and American bases. And at the same time, we're also seeing the Iranian proxies, the leading one, Hezbollah, actively joining the fight against Israel with drones overnight, and we will see where this take us. So there's a lot of fear and anxiety in Lebanon because this will affect not just the Shiite parts, not just Hezbollah. It's going to have very dire consequences for the whole country.
Right. So, Shani, you're going to stick around because we'll be unpacking these developments and giving them a sort of the wider perspective of what all this means, these developments that are happening on the ground in the Middle East. But for the meantime, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he's vowed to intensify airstrikes, Shani, on Tehran in the coming days, saying that the military has now mobilized its full strength. There was that call for the reserves.
I mean, I was low-key expecting her to say schools, like when she said that Netanyahu has promised to intensify his strikes on. In my head, I finished that as like schools and hospitals. But I guess Tehran was probably the more politically correct term.
Saying that the military has now mobilized its full strength. There was that call for the reserves. Now, this comes after Iran targeted Israel with a barrage of rockets and missiles. Now, medical staff say 9 people were killed and more than 20 wounded when a synagogue was hit. That was in the town of Beit Shemesh. That would be in the west of Jerusalem. That then brings the number of dead in Israel now to 11. Now, Israel's military chief also confirmed launching a, quote, offensive campaign against Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. This comes after Israel struck Hezbollah targets in the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Now, there are reports that a senior Hezbollah figure has been killed. Those strikes come after Hezbollah fired rockets at Israel in response to Ayatollah Khamenei's death, which was confirmed at the weekend. And so perhaps it's a good time to talk to our correspondent in Jerusalem, Tanya Kramer. It's good to see you, Tanya. Just give us a sense of what the latest is now in Jerusalem this morning on the third day of this war.
Yeah, also this morning people here woke up to air raid sirens. You know, they had to go to shelters again, although it had been a relatively calm night, except for the launching of rockets and drones from Lebanon and then Israel attacking ever since. But that also means, you know, what Shanice just said, you know, it's basically people have to be on alert all the time because you never quite know when those alerts are coming in.
Right, and with the ongoing escalation now on the northern front, that is with Lebanon, is there any real hope for a ceasefire, or has that possibility now just faded?
No, I think we're in a totally different phase right now. I mean, the IDF, the Israeli military, just issued warnings this morning to Lebanese citizens in 53 villages to evacuate. And we also saw what you already mentioned is, you know, the attacks in southern Beirut and in other areas during the night in retaliation for this rocket fire. Now, Israel had been preparing for this. You know, in the past days and weeks, they have been carrying out airstrikes in southern Lebanon, but also other areas to take out, you know, as they say, missile and rocket sites and military sites. And we also heard from the Chief of Staff, Zamir, that this is not just defensive action, this is also offensive action, obviously. And he called on the citizens here, you know, to be prepared. He also said to the citizens in northern Israel that this time we will not evacuate you, we will protect you, and that, you know, everybody should be prepared, as he said, for prolonged days of combat.
Right. Thanks so much for that wrap. That's our Tanya Kramer in Jerusalem. And from there, we'll go now to Beirut, where Stella Mena is joining us. Stella, what more can you tell us from Beirut, where you are?
So people in Beirut woke up around 2:40 in the morning due to the heavy bombardment of the southern suburbs of Beirut. They were extremely loud and windows were shaking due to these explosions. People here don't have any warning system, pre-warning system, nor do they have shelters or bunkers where they can hide. So most people woke up by this sound and then they were fleeing their homes, trying to find safer areas to hide. According to the Lebanese Health Ministry, at least 31 people died in last night's airstrikes, and more than 149 people are injured. And as we are speaking, the bombardment is continuing in South Lebanon because the Israeli army is also carrying out strikes there in the south of Lebanon as well as in the Bekaa. Tanya said it earlier, the Israeli army sent out forced evacuation warnings to more than 53 towns and villages in Lebanon. And these villages are being bombed right now as we speak. So we're expecting more and more casualties to be reported throughout the day.
Right, Stella, and as you're speaking, we could see pictures of some of those strikes that took place overnight. But just maybe one more to you while I still have you. Has there been any reaction to the strikes from Lebanon's government so far?
Yes, indeed. Lebanon's government has reacted. President Aoun has condemned these strikes, as well as Prime Minister Salam. He called these rocket attacks that Hezbollah launched irresponsible. Earlier on, he said that no matter who performed these rocket attacks, they are irresponsible. That was before it was clear that Hezbollah claimed these attacks. There's also right now an emergency meeting by the Lebanese government taking place. So the officials are trying to take into control what they have. The Ministry of Justice also said that they will try to send out the rest to the people who are standing behind these rocket attacks. This is really the attempt of the newly elected or new Lebanese government to try and to perform their state power.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Stella Mena in Beirut.
All right, let's just take a pause from this video. We have watched a lot of it already. Let's do a few chats. And then I want to turn over to the story out of Kuwait about the, maybe we should do a CBS News clip about the 4 dead. Well, there's so many stories, obviously, since it's an escalating situation. But yeah, let's do a story out of Kuwait about these airplanes that have crashed. I don't know if you've seen this already. Israel wants all of Lebanon for itself. Israel wants the entire region under its control. And the United States wants that too, right? It's not distinct from the United States. The distinction comes in the sort of like wallpapering over like the reason for why. Like Israel says it's because it's part of like the land that they were guaranteed as, part of their religious text. The United States like says things about maintaining the social order, some kind of like global agenda, like, but it is the same thing. Obviously the naked ethno-nationalist of the Israeli reason is something that we don't like as a people now. We go like, oh, ethno-nationalism is bad. And so when people say they want to take over a country because like it's been owed to them by their religious text, by, their birthright, we go, that's not like good. And we don't like that anymore, which is why we don't say stuff like that as much out loud in the United States. We have like national security or like interest in the region, stuff like that. Did you see that Huckabee tweet about the laser defense system? I'm surprised Huckabee can even tweet with how horny he must be. The fact that Huckabee even like, I would just think he's like vibrating so hard that he's going to shift into a different dimension. Like I said last time, if you asked Mike Huckabee, if you presented to Mike Huckabee the option like, we will drop a nuke on Tehran, but you have to be strapped to it, or we don't drop one, like his only question would be like, can I be naked while on the nuke so I can like have easy access to jack off? Like that would be the only question like Mike Huckabee had as a follow-up. Like I said again last time too, he would agree to his whole family being strapped to it. Yeah, he won a cowboy hat, though. Yeah, Lindsey Graham likes it, too, but Mike Huckabee is like a real freak for it. Is this the friendly fire incident? Well, I guess we're going to find out.
Iran has launched attacks on several U.S. allies in the region, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain. There are reports of a Saudi oil refinery coming under an Iranian drone attack. Several U.S. planes have crashed in Kuwait, according to its Ministry of Defense. The crews of the aircraft are safe. Kuwait says it's investigating the cause of the incident. Fire and plumes of smoke have been seen near the U.S.
Honestly, if I had to guess, it's because the planes probably aren't very good. I say that all the time. But there's a lot of cope in the United States about the quality of our military equipment because we primarily use it to blow up people who we've been keeping marginalized or deindustrialized for like decades, if not centuries. And so in a lot of people's minds, when we spend $35 billion on a new plane, we're spending that money on the state-of-the-art plane. It's like, no. We're giving that money to CEOs, like everything else. The military is a huge boondoggle, like everything that we have. Like I would not be surprised if half the stuff, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if half the stuff doesn't work. But you know what I mean? Like the quality of it is just never really put into test.
The embassy has urged people not to come to the compound and to take cover. A Saudi oil refinery has halted operations after a suspected Iranian strike. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry said 2 drones attempted to strike the plant and were intercepted. The ministry added falling debris caused a limited fire at the facility.
Okay.
The country's oil giant Aramco says it shut the Ras Tanura refinery as a precautionary measure. In Bahrain, smoke is seen at Salman port in the capital Manama following an attack. The port houses the U.S. Navy's 5th fleet. And loud bangs were also heard here in the Qatari capital, Doha, as its air defense system intercepted attacks from Iran. Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base hosts U.S. structure from sea. The Iranian Red Crescent says 555 people have been killed in 3 days of joint U.S.-Israel strikes across Iran. This was the scene in the city of Sanaj Daj, that's in Kurdistan province in the west of the country. The U.S. military in Ramallah, but first let's talk to Zain Basravi, who is in Doha. So Zain, we know that there has been this several, according to the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense, U.S. jets that have gone down. What do we know there?
That is correct. Just about an hour or so ago, the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense confirming that several jets, several U.S. jets, not exactly putting a number on it, but saying several U.S. jets had been shot down or had crashed in Kuwait. Now, we've seen at least two separate looking videos, two independent videos that seem to show two separate crashes.
Shot down.
One, we see
or
this
crashed.
aircraft spiraling, an F-15E Strike Eagle, spiraling, its tail on fire, trailing smoke.
It just does that because they're probably bad.
Two pilots there did manage to eject. That was also seen on social media.
Yeah, people watch Top Gun and they get really impressed. But I'm telling you, why would you think that they are good? Why? Why would they be? Why? It seems like it'd be more expensive to make them work, right? And if it's more expensive, it's not going to happen. Like people just don't get it. The whole thing is a scam from top to bottom. The whole thing is a scam. So like it's why would they work? They work just well enough to do what they kind of have to do, which is, be flying over football fields and dropping bombs on villages and doubled. That's drones now actually a lot of times. So it doesn't surprise me that they don't work. Doesn't surprise me that nothing in America works. Why would the military stuff be different?
Videos that were posted, and then they were shown later on the ground being helped and assisted by locals. Another video seeming to show a crash happening over a more urban area. And in the past hour, we've had the Iranian army confirming that we targeted U.S. Ali al-Salam base in Kuwait.
Also, that's another reason why this can't go on for a lot longer, because remember how much of a debacle the invasion in Iraq was? Many of you maybe won't, but some of you will remember all of the stories that came out about the soldiers being poorly equipped and things just not being as good as you would imagine with how much money we pump into the military. This is already happening in the first few days, these misfires, all the jets are crashing themselves. Now, I'm not trying to say it'd be enough to keep us out of the war, but a full war in Iran would really reveal just, I think, some of the, how much of the security spectacle, the military spectacle that we maintain is a facade, right? That a lot of our stuff is held together with, duct tape, because we just don't invest in anything that's not making billionaires richer. And so a war in Iran would be a lot different in a lot of ways than the war in Iraq was. And I think one way is that we, by nature of the infrastructure we have now in terms of for dissemination of information, we would see a lot more stuff like this. We'd see a lot more oh yeah, look at this, this jet that the United States spent $800 million on and is supposedly the reason why they don't have health care, doesn't even get off the ground. $800 million. We'd be lucky if it cost that little. Just like with those bunker buster bombs that we dropped in June that were so expensive and supposedly we're going to do a great job at destabilizing the Iranian nuclear program, and they didn't work. They sometimes pretend like they work, but then, now they're admitting that they didn't work, but they cost hundreds of millions of dollars per bomb. It's McMilitary. It's all a scam. The only reason that you would think it would work is if you really thought they loved America and that they wanted to keep it safe and protect it. Why? They don't live here. They don't live in the United States of America. They're global citizens. They're a global elite.
And hostile vessels in the northern Indian Ocean with 15 cruise vessels. A television report quoting the Iranian military going on to say a hostile American F-15 fighter jet was shot down near the border with Kuwait. Now, a few hours ago, there were still some concerns as to exactly how these jets may have come down. There was some concern there may have been some kind of mistake or error or friendly fire. Investigations are still ongoing. It is still unclear, but
may have been some friendly fire. See how they threw that last one in there really like subtle? You see how they threw that last one in there like a really subtle, like may have been some friendly fire.
Mistake or error or friendly fire. Investigations are still ongoing. It is still unclear, but the Ministry of Defense of Kuwait did confirm that search and rescue operations were carried out immediately, that all the pilots
Top Gun was a movie, wasn't real life.
Were safe and were well. But it does seem now that Iran is claiming to have shot down at least one of those jets close to the Kuwaiti border.
So, Zain, we also know that there have been oil facilities in Kuwait and in Saudi Arabia that have sustained at least some level of damage from falling debris. What do we know about those situations and what this potentially tells us about the Iranian strategy in terms of its targeting?
Well, as far as the strategy goes, Iran is, if this is proved to be an Iranian attack, doing what it said it would do. It would attack military assets, U.S. assets. It would attack any allies of the United States in the region that were directly or indirectly cooperating with any sort of strike on Iran if Iran was to come under attack. That has happened. And now it is attacking soft targets as well. And as we know, since this conflict began, the playbook has largely been thrown out. The red lines have all been crossed by all sides. And so the way forward is really uncharted. So what we're seeing now is that Iran has attacked civilian airports. It is attacking civilian infrastructure. And in this case, in Saudi Arabia,
I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you.
Aramco shut down the Ras Tanura refinery. Now, this is in the central part of the country, on the eastern coast, on the eastern side of Saudi Arabia, right along the waters of the Gulf. It is just across the Gulf from Iran. And what we are understanding is that this, one of the Middle East's largest refineries, a critical, crucial export terminal.
Yeah, really bad time to be oil refinery nation when you're picking a fight with a nation that has like missiles that can hit your oil refineries or drones that get your oil refineries. Like Saudi Arabia, like, I mean, the United States is just not trying to keep these places safe because they don't give a shit, obviously. So what other than being big targets have you made yourself, you know, being the lapdog of the United States?
Saudi crude has been shut down. Operations have been shut down following a drone strike. We don't know if there's been any damage. We don't know how bad the attack is, but out of an abundance of caution for securing the infrastructure there, output and production operations at that have been shut down for now. And again, going back to what this illustrates about how Iran plans to move forward, as long as it continues to come under attack, as long as its infrastructure comes under attack, it will continue to take the war to U.S. allies in the region.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you do? Gritty Baby, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. U.S. don't care as long as the oil doesn't go to China and they make the Zionists happy. Like, yeah, as long as the ability for Iran to be a stable country that is like engaging in trade with our enemies is taken away, then that's like the basic goal. You know, it's the 100% achievement to like actually do regime change. And Trump is just not a completionist, right? You can tell by the look of him. And so just totally destabilizing Iran and killing a bunch of the citizens is going to be totally within his condition for success. All right. President Trump vows to avenge deaths of U.S. service members in Iran. I don't think he's going to do that. Even if he kills more people, it's not going to be to avenge those people's death. Yeah, let's actually turn to like the Saudi oil refinery. Let's see how that's doing.
Robertson, who is in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where Nick, the defense...
Yeah, this is probably ruining Riyadh Comedy Week. Could you imagine? Could you imagine all those comedians just running around like Muppets?
I want to get you this hour to Nick Robertson, who is in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where, Nick, the Defense Ministry has just released a statement that 2 drones were intercepted and destroyed at one of its largest oil refineries. Nick, the Ras Tanura refinery is hugely economically significant. What do we know at this point?
Yeah, it's a very massive, sprawling facility. I've been there on a number of occasions before. It covers a vast area and is very important to Saudi Arabia's economy. It can produce capacity, about 500,000 barrels of oil a day. That's a significant number. What we're hearing from the spokesman at the Ministry of Defense here is that 2 drones were intercepted as they were flying towards that, or in the vicinity of that refinery. These drones were intercepted. Debris fell. There are no casualties. And the spokesperson saying that this falling debris lit a fire in the area. This is,
you know, all this talk about like oil fires reminds me of what you guys are probably all really interested in, which is how the economy is doing as a result of this. So let's just jump over there. I didn't see the time until just right then. We got really bogged down in my stream getting taken down by the YouTube AI gods. So let's see how the oil of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, is doing in oil prices.
Well, we're going to go straight to business now. Our business editor, Sean Pellegrin, is joining us. He's looking at the impact this escalation in violence is having on the markets for us, Sean.
Considering the Middle East is responsible for about a third of global oil production, let's start by looking at how oil prices have reacted as they opened this Monday around the world. Whether it's the North Sea Brent crude benchmark or the West Texas Intermediate, they are both rising quite high, as you can see, over almost 10% for the Brent crude at just over $79 a barrel. Not surging as much as earlier in the session when the Brent was about 13% higher, but there was quite a significant uptick after Iran's spokesperson said that their negotiations were not on the table. The main factor here is the fact that oil and gas tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz connecting the Persian Gulf and Arabian Sea has effectively been halted, with orders from Iran that traffic is now forbidden and insurers increasingly unwilling to cover these crossings. So cargo is now seeking alternative and longer routes. That Strait of Hormuz sees about 20 million barrels of oil go through it every day in normal conditions. That's 20% of global oil consumption. Same goes for the world's liquefied natural gas consumption. That's why this is often described as oil and gas's global choke point. Let's look at Asian bourses now, all in the red except for the Shanghai Composite. Higher energy prices weighing on stocks, except for energy stocks, obviously. Among the biggest losers are airlines amid airspace disruption and airport closures in the Middle East. Thousands of travelers currently stranded in the region. European markets also opening the session in the red this Monday in that uncertain geopolitical context. You can see both the DAX and the CAC 40 in Paris down over 2% lower. So for more in-depth analysis of this situation, let's turn to Jorge Leon. He's the Senior Vice President and Head of Geopolitical Analysis at Rystad Energy. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Leon. Let's start with the Strait of Hormuz here. I mentioned earlier that traffic is halted. The UK Maritime Transit Office saying 3 ships have been targeted by Iran as they attempted to cross. Do we have a sense, or what is your opinion on how long this situation could continue and how high energy prices could go?
Charles, thank you for having me. That is the great question at the moment. We don't know how long this disruption is going to last for. Now, bear in mind that, as you correctly mentioned, 20% of global consumption passes through the Strait of Hormuz. And it's not just oil, it's also LNG. So the longer this disruption lasts for, I suspect the higher the oil and gas prices that we will see in the coming days and weeks. Brent up by 10%. Let's not forget that gas in Europe, TTF, has increased by more than 20%.
We're also now in the last hour or so getting reports that Saudi Aramco's refinery in Ras Tunra has been targeted by a drone attack. So this, in addition to the Strait of Hormuz, there's also a risk of seeing oil infrastructure more widely targeted and potentially destroyed. Any reaction to this? So far, it seemed that actually that kind of infrastructure had been spared before that report.
Indeed, and that is, I think, a really worrying signal. So far, we didn't see any energy infrastructure being targeted, but this is another step in the escalation of the situation. As you correctly mentioned, the refinery in Saudi Arabia has been hit. We also heard that there were some explosions near Karg Island in Iran. That's the main oil storage facility. But again, targeting energy infrastructure is another step into further escalation of the situation. So if this continues, we're likely to see more.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to pick a fight with another country when you have like big glowing weak points, right? Because that's what these oil fields are. And to put it into video game boss terms, it's like Saudi Arabia is like an entry level boss that has big glowing weak points all over it. That if you hit, just go up in flames. And not only does it devastate the country, like literally because of all of the like oil on fire, but it's also their main source of income, right? As well as, making the country not suitable in a lot of people's minds for their second main source of income in a lot of these places, which is tourism, right? Tourism from people in Europe and other parts of the Middle East and Asia and the United States, obviously. And so in both cases, they've really, I guess, shot themselves in the foot, allowing themselves to believe that the United States would do anything other than hang them out to dry. I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do, right? And by that, I mean, the United States is going to still launch war from these countries with their approval. But like, obviously, the U.S. has rescinded some of its own troops from the region in anticipation of this action. And so a lot of these countries' citizens are going to be held out to dry, along with these countries', strategic weak points.
Upside price pressure.
On Sunday, OPEC Plus gathered and they announced what was considered a modest hike.
God, and you know what's crazy too? Like, he's been bragging about gas prices. And I mean, Trump has been bragging about gas prices being down for like months. Every time you confront him about how expensive it is to be alive in America, he goes, well, the cost of eggs and gas are down. Well, I guess we'll see about that second thing.
Of 206,000 barrels per day.
Good time to get a bike if you live in a place where you can buy.
This having on prices, and Iran is part of that cartel. What would have been their thinking in that meeting?
So Iran was not part of that meeting because the meeting was for OPEC plus 8, the 8 countries that have implemented voluntary cuts. So that does not include Iran. Now, 206,000 barrels per day is nothing. It's really, really marginal in the grand scheme of things. So I don't think that this is having a significant impact on the market. And there's a very important element to take into account this. OPEC Plus could announce increasing production, but if countries such as the UAE and Saudi Arabia cannot export that crude if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, then the real impact on the market is very, very limited. Again, 206,000 barrels per day is negligible in the grand scheme of things. We're thinking that disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz could reach close to 10 million barrels per day. So very, very marginal impact from OPEC Plus.
And what kind of alternative routes are there for these barrels that are stuck in the Persian Gulf?
There are not many. Saudi Arabia could use the East-West pipeline. Currently has a capacity of 5 million barrels per day. I think it could be used 4 million barrels per day at the moment. So out of the 15 million barrels per day that transit through the Strait of Hormuz, 4 million barrels per day can use that pipeline. And then the UAE can use the Abu Dhabi pipeline, which has a capacity of 1 million barrels per day. So all in all, around 4 or 5 million barrels per day of crude could be bypassed in the Strait of Hormuz. But again, the overall figure is 15 million barrels per day. This leaves the world with a deficit of 10 million barrels per day. That's 10% of consumption. So this really highlights the importance of the current crisis.
Jorge Leon, you are Senior Vice President and Head of Geopolitical Analysis at Rystad Energy. Thank you so much for sharing your expert knowledge on this topic with us on France 24.
Russian oil now is more valuable. I mean, look, you're still thinking in 3 dimensions. You're not thinking with portals. You're not thinking with 4 dimensions yet. And so your criticisms are based in like a lower plane of existence. This is terrible for everybody. Is the point I'm trying to make. It's terrible for everybody. it worries me the Dems still really don't seem to have a plan on how to deal with this in a real way if they get power. They seem to just be relying Trump bad again, kind of scary, honestly. Well, they want this. They want to be at war with Iran. At least the Democratic Party establishment, anyone who's likely to get their hands on the presidency wants to be at war with Iran. They've wanted that for decades because they're neoconservative, like the Republicans. That's why so much of the Democratic Party's, I guess, base, like their core liberals, just never think about foreign policy beyond like how stupid the Republican presidents make us look. Right. That's why Obama was able to expand his drone warfare campaign with nary a whisper from congressional Dems for a full decade, basically. It's because they want to be doing stuff like this. They just don't want to have their name on the I side of that screen. Right. Because that looks bad for the liberals at home who want to pretend like they like peace. Like part of the reason why like Donald the Dove actually caught on is because Hillary Clinton is a war hawk, right? People try to pretend like there's no rationale for why people thought that Donald Trump would be less bloodthirsty than Hillary Clinton, but that's just them failing to cop to the realities of what lesser evil thinking and binary choices create for people, right? Like, and that is that when one person is a known quantity, you're just going to rationalize the other person to be what you want if they're an unknown quantity, because that's just the way, that's your only two choices, right? And so the whole Donald the Dove thing was underpinned by the fact that Hillary Clinton is a war hawk. She was a war hawk in the Obama administration, right? Like if there was one thing Obama as like the president did, I guess like not positive, but not as bad as it could have been, is that Hillary Clinton would have definitely had us at war with Syria. So, you know, it's not as though it was for no reason. It was just that the reason was stupid, but it's the reason that a lot of people believe irrational things in the United States when it comes to politics. You only have two choices. And so, you know, what are you going to do? So, I mean, the Democrats like want to go to war. Like if they had voted for it in Congress, it would have passed, probably. I have no reason to believe it wouldn't have passed. If you ask me, would it have actually passed? I would say yes. If you ask me, like, would people who voted for it have wanted to be able to not vote for it, then yeah, I guess. I didn't really express that right. But, you know, they want it to happen. Enough members of our Congress want it to happen for their own, like, reasons. They might be mixed reasons for it to have gone through in both parties. Would they have voted for it? That depends. That depends on how vulnerable they would have been if like by nature of their vote, but they definitely want it. Like not all of them, obviously there are like a handful of good Democrats who like you can imagine wouldn't be in favor of it. Rand Paul wouldn't be in favor of it. Thomas Massey, the usual suspects, but basically everybody else would have done it for one reason or another. Some of them just cynically, some of them because they like are in the pocket of the military industrial complex. Some of them are just like, you know, Christian Zionists, but there would have been enough to get it done. Like the Democrats are lucky that he doesn't make them vote for it, but that's by design. The fact that Congress no longer votes for war is by design. All right, let's actually talk about the Westerners who are stuck in the Middle East, because I know he mentioned that in that last
Well, the spiraling
clip.
war has.
Because I know you've seen probably the videos of the Dubai airport, because Dubai is one of the places that's being hit, you know, in retaliatory strikes from Iran, and so there's like a lot of videos circulating of people stuck in the airport because all of the flights have been grounded. But yeah, let's take a look at that.
Well, this spiraling war has left tens of thousands of travelers stuck around the world. The situation is particularly bad in the Gulf, as Charlotte Lamb explains.
No joking, guys. We have just been hit by a drone.
Scared. I'm actually so scared.
Since Saturday, social media has been flooded with videos from foreign residents and tourists in the Gulf, documenting the moment the conflict reached them. For years, countries like the
You think this guy's British?
United Arab Emirates have promoted themselves as safe, tax-free hubs, attracting influencers, entrepreneurs and holidaymakers from around.
Scammers, attracting scammers, criminals, and the morons that they prey on, if we're being honest.
The world.
You get stuck in the middle of a war zone.
But that image was shaken after Iran retaliated for the joint US-Israeli strikes that killed its supreme leader, with strikes in Dubai, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar and elsewhere. It remains unclear whether Iran was directly targeting hotels and landmarks rather than the US military facilities it had vowed to strike. Explosions continue.
I've heard from Israel that like everyone gets a few tens of thousands of oopsies when it comes to these sorts of things. So if they like blow up an influencer or whatever, like that's just part of those oopsies, right? No, of course not. I don't advocate for that sort of thing. It is just crazy though because of how many influencers like per capita are in Dubai. Like, could you imagine the headlines?
Continue to be reported across several Gulf countries Monday. Many residents are seeking shelter, while others are considering whether to leave. Online, the situation has sparked debate about who might be able to get out if fighting.
The wave in the dark. Do you think they planned the invasion with the blood moon tonight, or it's just coincidence? Is there blood moon tonight? Because that might be why I feel like the veil between the spirit realm and the physical plane is like, I don't know, becoming a lot thinner, because I've been seeing shades a lot. And also being sick. Maybe my powers are finally coming in. And if they are, I'm going to be honest, Iron Fist.
Online, the situation has sparked debate about who might be able to get out if fighting escalates. The UK Foreign Office says it's drawing up contingency plans to help as many 300,000 nationals leave the region if needed.
I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
But elsewhere, some...
I'm sorry, go back.
Says it's drawing up contingency plans to help as many 300,000 nationals leave the region if needed.
I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
Oh, is there a place that is conglomerating British expats in Dubai complaining about drone strikes? I got to find that.
But elsewhere, some are still trying to make the journey in. At the Manila International Airport, migrant workers have been stranded after flight cancellations. The Gulf relies heavily on its foreign workforce, which rights groups say often face precarious working and living conditions.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Of course, we are also afraid. Lives are at stake. We are taking a risk. We are overseas Filipino workers. We will go there to take a chance.
UAE skies have remained empty for a third day straight. Emirates has extended its suspension of flights in and out of the country, citing ongoing airspace closures across the region.
Wow. Yeah, let's I wonder if there's any. Qatar Energy halts production of LNG after Iranian drone strike. Is this new? I think this is.
Well, Al Jazeera is live in Tehran, Beirut, Ramallah. We're also live at the White House in the U.S., Westminster in the U.K., and right here.
Oh, okay. So now we're getting the final. Okay, so here we go. Kuwait shot down 3 U.S. F-15E jets on accident, U.S. military says. So I guess, this is what people were saying.
U.S. Central Command says 3 fighter jets were shot down by friendly fire from Kuwaiti forces. CENTCOM says all 6 crew members aboard the jets ejected, were safely recovered, and are in stable condition. Now, CNN geolocated video that appears to be an F-15 falling from the sky, the pilot parachuting out. There's also a video that appears to show a pilot safe on the ground after ejecting. Now, the aircraft were F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jets. CENTCOM says Kuwaiti air defenses mistakenly shot them down during active combat that included attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones. The cause.
Do you think that's going to turn out to be not true? I mean, that part about like an active dogfight that was going on, because it doesn't seem like there's an active dogfight going on in the sky around it, right? Like when they were showing it falling, you didn't see any other aircraft. So I mean, I guess I I would love to see that. Like, it sounds really exciting, right? Because the way they're saying it is that there's like a dogfight going on in the sky right out of frame between multiple F-15s piloted by the United States, Kuwaiti like jets as well, a conglomeration of Iranian jets, aircraft, drones, probably like a Dragon too, but we're not really being shown any of that. We're just being shown like a plane kind of just like falling out of the sky. So I guess, I don't know. I would love to see that the parts preceding that moment. Not to say it didn't happen. It just sounds really, really interesting. And so I guess I wonder if it did happen, that shouldn't there be footage of it? Because if that were happening just in the sky, people would probably be like taking footage of it with their cameras that they all carry in their pocket, right? But I mean,
of the incident under investigation. Now, CNN following all the latest developments from around the globe, the White House, the Gulf, inside Saudi Arabia and Israel. Let's start there. Our Nick Payton-Walsh is in Tel Aviv with the very latest on the loss
like handsome
of 3
Greg Gutfeld.
U.S. aircrafts. That's a significant loss all at once, Nick.
It is startling to see 3 involved in a friendly fire incident like this, and I think it brings home the jeopardy that US troops face as this conflict widens. Look, it's clear that CENTCOM
the
is saying
jeopardy
this
they
was an
face
active
from
combat
themselves.
Area. Likely, it seems, if you interpret what they said, that Kuwaiti air defenses were engaging drones, missiles, other things at the time, and mistook these F-15s as legitimate targets too. That is essentially the consequence of the war that the United States is in here. President Trump warned yesterday that there could potentially be more US casualties. There's been 3 so far, and let's face it, this was clearly a near miss. All 6 crew ejecting safely and now being in a stable condition, having been recovered by the US military.
We want to talk about how this happened, and here to do that is retired Army Brigadier General Steve Anderson. Thank you so much for being here, because we're going to talk not just about that plane, but also the sort of pros and cons of doing an air campaign with the goal of regime change, which is not something.
Well, I don't think that you can actually do that. Common Merganser says, I don't know if you can really film a modern dogfight. I think they fire Mitchell at each other from a few miles away. That's a good point. Well, to be honest, I don't think it happened the way they're describing. So I was just emphasizing a point for the sake of humor, because it sounds like it doesn't make any sense.
Thing history has shown us really before. So first, talk about what you were seeing with that F-15. Give us the context of what our capabilities are in the region.
Well, there's probably.
Oh yeah. So now they're gonna do a bunch of because we've just watched a bunch of American aircraft fall out of the sky. Like I said, now that people have been exposed to the fact that all of our tax dollars not only go towards this stuff, but this stuff is not particularly as effective as, at least not as invincible as we're made to believe it is, that would, help sell it to us. They're going to have this, this military industrial complex probably spokesperson come on to explain why it's actually a really cool plane, and you should continue to be happy for them to take, 15 cents out of every dollar you own to go towards Lockheed Martin or whatever.
At least 30 or so F-15s that are stationed there in Kuwait. And they all, no doubt, took part in this massive air campaign that took over the weekend. Over 1,000 sorties were flown. You have to remember that it was an incredibly complex operation involving the Lincoln carrier battle group, the Ford carrier battle group out in the Mediterranean, all the bases that we have in the Middle East. Without a doubt, there was probably Tomahawk missiles launched from submarines, in fact. So it was an incredibly complex operation. So the fact that
we have
we'd
all
have
these
some
nice
kind of
things.
collision or some kind of an incident,
Don't worry about it.
Is not that it's not that remarkable. But what is
Yeah,
remarkable
don't
is
worry
the
about that.
performance of the
What,
American
$300 million?
military
Don't worry
and the
about
Israeli
that.
military to have done what they've done over the last couple of days without a single shoot down is pretty remarkable.
Those aircraft were F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jets. The cost.
This is like a fucking infomercial for the F-15 Strike Eagle. They have a whole little This looks like a BattleBots, like circa 2005 entry CGI, like what they used to make on like Spike TV shows.
The cause of the incident, of course, continues to be looked at, but those jets are just some of the assets that the U.S. is deploying in the air as this war expands.
Yeah, this is an ad. This is an ad for the military.
Remotely piloted
an ad for
Reaper drones.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you this was going to be an ad for the military-industrial complex? I told you, like, it just, once you see, like, once the specter of American military might gets, like, like that bubble gets burst, they got to do, like, a whole 10-minute segment on CNN to go like, no. This is like we're actually really, really powerful, guys. We're really, really powerful. We're not just giving your money to like CEOs and billionaires through the military-industrial contract, through the military-industrial complex contracting. Like, we're actually really powerful.
They carry Hellfire missiles and guided bombs. They are also using B-2 stealth bombers, valued at, just so you know, more than $1 billion each. The bombers usually fly out from an airbase in Missouri with a crew of 2. Now, let's get the very latest from our correspondent stationed in key cities. Clarissa Ward is on the Iranian border in eastern.
Okay. We're not going to watch any more of that. Let's see if we can find some. I know this is a little bit gratuitous. Like I said, I'm sick. So let's see if we can find some videos of the Dubai airport. I'm very curious. I saw them on X, but I've caught enough flack today for not being careful enough with my content curation. Dubai airport struck by Iranian missile. Yeah, this is the one I was seeing yesterday. This is from newsaustralia.com. Well, I'm on Twitter, so it won't matter. I mean, I'm on Twitch, so it won't matter. Let's see it. Dubai's media office confirmed 4 staff were injured when Terminal 3 sustained minor damage in the strike. Yeah. Common Merganza says multi-million-dollar American aircraft shot down the multi-million-dollar American weapons thousands of miles from America. That's how we keep the stock market going, baby. Well, obviously, your joke just belies the point that America is such a powerful military that the only threat is to ourselves. And so we have to fight ourselves in order to have some sort of true match. That's going to be the last season of Baki, too. Baki's going to fight himself as well.
They are literally running around on the tarmac like crazy, unloading all the baggage off the planes. I don't know what we're going to do. We haven't had any text messages. I assume we're going to have to check into a hotel somewhere. And then it's really annoying, actually, because we have got events. And I'm just like, what have we got next week? We've got meetings. I'm probably going to have to cancel them. We just don't really know anything. They've not communicated anything. But I suppose this is actually above airport staff now. This is bad. But, yeah, it's not been great. I feel like it's just been a waste of a day. Our baggage is, I don't know where it is.
It's been a waste of a day.
We're still here waiting. But, yeah, it's crazy. They're literally running around.
Back to Luton to talk to Tommy Robinson.
Like little flies on the tarmac, unloading all the planes.
Guys, dito na kami sa labas.
Absolutely crazy. It's a nice airport. Well, I mean, it's an alright airport. You don't breathe that in. That's probably full of asbestos. Oh, gosh. There's going to be so much more Iran news. And I know we got a really late start today, but especially since we're not on YouTube right now anyway, and there's no chance this can be copyrighted, I can show it to you. And so you guys might know Demon Erasers. One of my favorite exorcist. I don't know if he's like a Christian exorcist, but he's definitely biblical in nature. He has a video about the truth behind the bombing of Iran. Now, I don't know how. So, let me just preface this particular part by saying I did not watch any of the content of this video past the opening intro, because he now has an anime intro. Like, he has made himself an anime intro for his own videos. And so I watched the first 5 seconds of his like anime intro, and I was like, oh no, we have got to watch this on stream. So this is the new, it's not literally animated though, at least not the parts that I saw, but you'll know what I mean when you see it. It's like a action oriented, musically backed like montage of scenes from like his life. But well, you know what? Let me just play it for you, so you'll get it. You'll get it. I will say he's also a Trump voter, so a lot of this is taken from his kata exhibition, his like gun kata exhibition, when he found out that Trump won the election. Yeah.
And I pause. How do I stop it? Okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
Oh, he paused it himself while it was playing. That wasn't me. Oh, he forgot. Aliens are demons. That was great. I gotta rewind that.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
Sick. That John Wick? Sick. Wait, should you be playing with that flamethrower in the forest? This is a long intro for an anime. Anime intros tap out at like 90 seconds. This has been going on for almost 2 minutes. But should you be playing with like a flamethrower in the forest like this?
Welcome to...
That was sick as hell. That was sick as hell. That had me dying. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, that was good. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm crying. That was that was amazing. Demons, like aliens are demons. Are you not crying? Are you not crying? Did you see when the alien, the gray, ripped his own face open and it was Satan or something? That was sick as hell. Aliens are demons. Forget what they told you. That was crazy. If you're not crying, you're a demon. Exactly. If you're not crying, you're a demon. Yeah, it should have been one more verse. So that's going to go. So for me, that's one of my new favorite anime openings. That definitely goes up there next to like Tokyo Ghoul. Not quite as high as the original Death Note anime, but like definitely up there with some of the mid-tier Naruto and Bleach ones. That's like Bluebird, but like a little better. That was sick though. That was too long. Yeah, that was like 2 minutes long.
The
gosh, and what's crazy is that we really cannot even watch the rest of this video because he's such an anti-Semite. He is sure to say something. No, I'll just play it a little bit for you. I said we couldn't watch it, but you'll see what I mean. He's like, it's gonna get off
Demon
the
Erasers
rails.
podcast. I tried to stop it halfway through, but I just paused it, and there was like no stop option. So I'm gonna have to re-edit my video to cut it a little shorter. But whatever. Like,
yeah, you can have an intro edit, and then maybe you can post that at the end if you want as a outro.
Oh yeah, I'll do the outro. I'll just split it. This is what we'll do. The welcome, guys. Today we are going to be talking about some crazy stuff. For those that don't know, we just bombed Iran. So that's not good and pretty terrible. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's biblical prophecies being fulfilled." Oh, and this is nonsense.
People probably are saying
and
that.
I'm gonna break it down for y'all. And this is gonna be a very anti Muslim video also. So sorry, Muslim followers.
Well, I guess we'll just end it there. He just came out and yeah, he's like a big like right-wing guy. Also, yeah, because it's also going to be anti-Semitic is the thing that goes without saying. But yeah, when he says it, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. He is for sure serious about it. For sure. The anti-Semitism is implied. Is he anti-demon too? Oh, he's very anti-demon. I don't know if he's more anti-Semitic, but definitely anti-demon. No. Okay, we have other stuff to cover as it relates to Iran. I just wanted to show you the opening because the opening was really good to me. Oh gosh, I just messed that up totally. Totally fucked that up. That doesn't matter. Gosh. Aliens are demons. Okay. Let's actually listen to Trump's on this one because we've already had 4 casualties. This is Trump talking about the casualties from earlier, which I guess has given some people pause. But I always say the part where Trump doesn't care about the lives of the U.S. service people, that's the most like endearing thing about him to me. Like he's very open about it. Like when military servicemen don't think that's the case, I don't know what to tell them, right? I guess that's why they're in the army or whatever, because they aren't good at putting 2 and 2 together. Because like he hates veterans. He thinks they're suckers and losers, and he said it. He said to their face, didn't he? He attacked that lady soldier at the Arlington that time. It's just so naked and transparent.
I'm Hallie Jackson in Washington, and we are coming on the air with breaking news. President Trump just putting out a new video online, the first public message he's put out since announcing the start of those strikes on Iran. It's about 6 minutes long. We're going to play the whole thing. Let's listen.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter.
Yeah, I also heard that he was mentioned by Jeffrey Epstein 38,000 times in his emails. Oh, no, that wasn't Khamenei. That was you.
Slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries.
Countless thousands?
Last night,
would you say
all
millions?
over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well. and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our
Morale
objectives are
improves.
achieved. We have
Objective 1, distracting from Jeffrey Epstein files. Objective 2, neoconservative agenda. Objective 3, Israel supremacy in region. But yeah, like all of the objectives, especially for him, that first one.
very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today,
This does feel a little AI-y, right? You know, it feels like maybe they're trying to perfect a deep fake Donald by having him give a lot of these speeches in front of like this particular backdrop so that they can swap him out next year.
Today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission.
You know what else makes it sound like AI? The audio quality is a lot better than it usually is, because usually the White House audio is terrible. And so it's a lot clearer. So it sounds like it's been run through a filter.
For the true American patriots who have made the
That could just be on
ultimate
NBC side,
sacrifice
though.
for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. That's the way it is.
That's the way it
Likely
is.
be more, but we'll
That's the way it is.
Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible.
Likely be more.
where that
More
won't
dead
be the
Americans.
case.
More
But America will avenge
more
their
supple
deaths and
dead
deliver the
white
most
teenage
punishing blow to the
Americans.
terrorists who have waged war
Suburban
against
Jake Paul looking
basically
boys
civilization.
in pieces.
They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has
They
never
want you to
been
no longer be
stronger.
able to go to
America is
Walmart.
now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian
Except for when
regime
they're shooting
armed
each
with
other down.
long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess
Turds
such weapons.
armies?
Would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not having
Can't happen
to us. And we're
My
not
best
gonna
friend
let it
Jeffrey
happen to
wouldn't like
others.
that.
The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close. But
They're not
we are
trans
now
anymore.
using that
That's what he wants to
military for
say.
good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats.
Wait, so is he announcing the disbanding of the United States of America? Like I was kind of fading in and out because, you know, when he speaks, I don't listen. When our orange president speaks, I do not listen. But he said that, you know, terrorist country armed with nuclear weapons, no more danger. So I'm like, oh, are we disbanding the United States? Are we like getting rid of Israel or what?
Regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, death to America or death to Israel or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
No.
We are the world's
That's
greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about
total,
what they do.
Total ridiculous
These intolerable
inversion.
threats will not
Total
continue
projection.
any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be
Jesus.
pretty. I call
God.
upon all Iranian patriots.
He's so like sick. He's like a real sick man. And like what's crazy about this speech is that like it's aimed at both sides. None of this like, oh, our side is invincible. He's just like, there's gonna be a lot of death and it's gonna be hard. And he's like, oh, it's
Certain
so
death.
sick.
Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to
We do
be
our
brave,
work.
be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Wow. The White House.
President Trump there speaking in a video that he then
Sick stuff. Sick stuff from a sick man with a sick mind. Wow. Trump's Iran decision sparks backlash from Tucker Carlson, some MAGA supporters. I guess, but you know, that's just all fake. It's all fake because Tucker Carlson isn't like, you know, isn't a friend of Iran. He just wants to like monetize his dissent from Trump. The Wave in the Dark says he wants to incite revolt while asking the guard and police to disarm. Totally coherent. Well, I mean, they've tried to kill basically everyone who could be a leader of Iran, who is not the literal handpicked son of the Shah, who we have, you know, Reza Pahlavi, who we've been like, I guess, just housing for 50 years now in the United States as part of like a endless speaking tour about like how terrible Iran is and how like, oh, the crown prince is just in exile, like fucking Eddie Murphy and Coming to America. But, you know, obviously worse than that. And so they went after Ahmadinejad. They went after the person who, you know, in people's opinion legitimately won the election in 2006, whose name is like escaping me, but who was like, you know, essentially just not allowed to take power. They don't want anyone who's not a hand-picked puppet of the United States to be in charge of Iran. Carlson was just smart enough to see the writing on the wall, and also he was forced to. Like, if he was still at Fox News, which, I mean, he probably doesn't want to be there now, but when he was, like, struggling maybe, and by struggling is relative, but not getting quite the foothold on Twitter or X that he was expecting when he signed that deal with Elon Musk, he just had to change his brand. And that went back to conspiracy stuff. He had the Obama blowjob guy on, and then he kind of just like spiraled from there into this like new kind of like Trump critical rhino, I guess like not rhino, like typical neocon critical Republican. And people's memory is so bad that they're like, oh, of course, Tucker Carlson, that's great. There can't be any ulterior motives here. All right. I guess I don't care about that. Let's gosh, I guess with the time we have left, let's maybe just finish this Candace clip because I have been putting it off, not actively, but just by nature of the news becoming more geared towards American imperialism. We never finished episode 1. And now they're already up to episode 3. God damn. They're already up to episode 3 of Bride of Charlie. And we're still on episode 1 of Bride of Charlie. But we're close to the end, I think. I think we're like close to the end of episode 1 of Bride of Charlie. Has it been taken down off YouTube? I know what that means. I know what that's like, Candace. Okay, yeah, Wrinkle in Time. So we're almost at the end of episode 1 of Bride of Charlie, and I don't want to fall behind. To be fair, episode 1 so far has been terrible. I thought about recapping it, but honest, I don't remember most of what was occurring, other than the fact that it was kind of stupid. So we're going to have to jump right back in media res. Oh,
Let's take
God.
a look at some other interesting tidbits. On March 21st of 2019, Erica visits with Charlie. She's in Jerusalem with Charlie, what is known as Zion's Gate in Jerusalem. She posts a picture with a pretty curious caption. It reads in part, meet Darla, a Romanian Jew that now calls Israel home.
Okay.
She was sitting by my family's dedication sign for restoring the Zion Gate in Jerusalem. Oh. What?
So she's like Jew investigating her?
Describing the Zion's Gate as her family's dedication. Speaking of which, why does her one-time roommate, Nicole Rothstein, allege that half of their family, referring to her and Erica's family, is Jewish? She also claimed that Charlie's after Charlie's assassination, that Erica, she was online going back and forth with people, that Erica was her best friend and her cousin. Nicole Rothstein said this. Now, I want to be clear, the Rothstein family, Zion's Gate is their dedication. Nicole wouldn't be lying if she posted that it was her family's dedication, but Erica? Also, how did Erica and Nicole Rothstein get so close? Remember, Erica presents that she was raised by a single mother on the Lebanese side. If Erica is telling the truth about her paternity, then Nicole Rothstein, I want you to understand who this would be to her. Nicole Rothstein, it's going to sound ridiculous, but this is the reality. If Erica's telling the truth, Nicole Rothstein would be Erica's father's sister's husband's previous wife's daughter's daughter. In other words, zero blood relation.
Fuck you, Candace. Fuck you. Don't pretend like I'm the crazy one by describing something like that. People refer to close people in their life as cousins all the time. That's a very ethnic thing to do, and you know that, Candace. Don't try to fuck with me and be like, oh, this person that I'm kind of related to closer to an average friend, by nature of a series of like familial, if not blood connections, I call my cousin. Yeah, Candace. I mean, you know what that's like. Everyone knows what that's like, except for like the waspiest of white Americans. Like, I got a ton of cousins. I got cousins who are my brothers. I got cousins who are my sisters. I got people who I've known who are my brother, who I would die for. I got people I'm related to who I haven't seen in years. So like, it just is what it is. Like, it's fictive kin. We understand it, Candace. Don't. She knows better. Yeah, Candace knows better than all of this. Not a lot better, but like, she knows better than this.
And not even kind of related, kind of crazy. You would even call each other cousins.
Not
People
crazy
do
at
that.
all.
It's cool with my cousins, my cousin. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
You know. Yeah.
Erica goes a little further though. Erica also posted a lovely tribute to Alan Rothstein, Nicole's father, online. She calls him Uncle. Uncle.
Oh my God.
So if Erica's telling the truth about who her parents are, to Erica, that would be her father's sister's husband's previous wife's daughter's husband. Suffice it to say, again, absolutely zero blood relation, and yet Erica's.
Yeah, you fucked up when your last name was Rothstein, and you became the target of Candace Owens' like aggression.
Extraordinarily close to him as well. Now we can show you on the family chart just how removed this is. It's insane. Okay, we actually couldn't even fit it. It's so far removed. So you got her aunt, Carla, is married to a guy named Jack, but Jack was also previously married to somebody else, which you see there named Edna. And this is Edna and Jack's line. This has nothing to do with Erica Francevay. Again, how?
What do you mean? What do you mean? You can see it right here. Like she drew it in such a way that makes it seem a lot more confusing than it actually is. But it's just right here. Like this is somebody who's married to someone she's related to's daughter. That's it. Like it's not that confusing.
Did she get so close to these people? Why is she referring to them as her family and declaring that Zion's Gate, which is actually their family's dedication, which has nothing to do with her aunt Carla? Why is she saying that that's her family's dedication? That makes no sense.
Bro, they're like cousins. You gotta stop, Candace. You gotta stop. You're reaching.
We could
this is
imagine
reaching.
how it could make sense. Now, again, we're imagining here. We're trying to make sense of the things that Erica is saying. I could imagine a very easy way it could actually make sense. Her closeness to the Rothsteins, her dedication to Jerusalem, if and only if we take Erica literally when she says Morfar.
Oh my gosh.
Let's assume that Grandpa Carl is indeed her mother's father. That would mean, well, obviously, Lori's wouldn't be her mother. It would also mean that Kent, just by nature of him being a man, is not her father. We're looking for her mother's father. So we have to start looking at Kent's siblings that are females. That would give us only 3 options.
But why? Why would you? I mean, maybe she's going to explain it, but all you're to say that they swapped her mother and father's parents?
We can bring this back up. One of Kent's sisters would be my first pick. Again, we're in conspiracy land here, but I'd go with Carla because she's married to Jack Solomon, and that is Jack Solomon's dedication. Carla wasn't even married to Jack until 2002. She just jumped in and was like,
it's so, I want to say Candace is so petty. The fact that she's using this image specifically of like Erica Kirk is, to be honest, she's using the image of Charlie that makes him look like really brown, that makes him kind of look like Vivek Ramaswamy. So it's not a good image of either of them. But the fact that she's using like full Gara of the desert makeup Erica Kirk here is like, extra rude.
Like, this is my whole family and my family's dedication. No. But if Carla, her mother's father, if her mother was Carla, actually it would all make sense.
She's
Solomon
getting herself
is the
confused.
Very man who financed the restoration of Zion's Gate in Jerusalem. If Jack Solomon was her father, then Nicole Rothstein would indeed be her blood relative cousin. But again, that's purely speculation. We don't have to go into speculation. Let's give you the facts more about Jack Solomon. What is factual is that Jack Solomon eventually marries Carla Ronsvay in 2002. And there are also some other really interesting facts about Jack. Jack and Erica's mommy aunt, I don't know, Carla, live in Utah. He graduated from what is today known as Utah Valley University. He's very involved in the university. It was formerly known as Utah Valley State College when he graduated from there. He also created on their campus the Center for Jewish Studies. I mean,
so he created the building that Charlie was shot from?
At the very least, you'd think
that'd be something.
All of the money that he poured into that university, he might be able to call someone to get us more footage of Tyler Robinson. Or Carla. How about Carla? She's married to the man. She could have maybe,
get us?
in my imagination,
you hate those people,
made it to the hospital when Charlie was shot and killed. I mean, why did none of them make it to the hospital? They're all so nearby. She still lives in Utah. This happened in their backyard. Their family has a lot of power at UVU. Why not Auntie Carla rather than Stacey Sheridan accompanying you onto Air Force 2 as your husband's body is escorted to Arizona? Jack Solomon was also a professor at BYU in political science. He's the former director of the university's Jerusalem Center. He also served on the Center for Jewish Studies on the board at UVU. Zion's Gate, like I said, is his dedication. And if you're wondering how Jack got so rich, it's because back in 1968, Jack and his business partner, a man named Norman Vance, began a company called Advanced Patent Technology. That company would go on to manufacture slot machines. You got it. Slot machines. Everybody's, it's just amazing. It's like everyone is involved in gambling.
Yeah.
Per his bio, in 1974, Jack gathered more than $5 million to purchase United Coin, the manufacturer of slot machines and the holder of a profitable Southern Nevada slot machine routes. In 1979, they announced plans for the Colorado Bell Hotel and Casino in Laughlin, Nevada, the first of a series of hotels to be built in the Las Vegas area. They had a lot of power in that area. Where were they?
In Las Vegas?
I don't know. It's an interesting connection. I am marking that for all the YouTubers who are interested in investigation.
Oh, I thought she was going to say who's interested in this series. But no, I'm not interested in investigation. The more we watch it, the more I think my point is proven that people don't really like pay attention closely when they watch this. If they're watching it at all. I know people have questioned whether there are bots or not, but people say they watch it to me, right? So like I assume some people do watch it. Maybe some bots are there, but who knows, right? But the closer you listen to it, the more you understand that like the things that she's saying don't really make sense, or they have very clear, obvious explanations, or like she's trying to frame herself as being, privy to information that she just can't be privy to, or like shouldn't be legally allowed to access. But she says it all in ways that make it sound like it's connecting logically or that it's important, but it just really isn't. Like it's all just like that, Erica Kirk calls someone who's related to her but not directly by blood her cousin because they're around the same age. And sometimes she calls that person, who she calls her cousin's father, her uncle. And he might actually be her uncle, just not by like blood. And that's like the whole story. And then it's like, well, if they're so close, how come when Charlie was shot, he didn't show up to where he was shot at to get me, Candace Owens, someone who's not related to any of these people, footage that I want, right? Because I'm insinuating that me not having that footage is the same thing as no one having it, which is not the case, obviously. Or how come they didn't show up to the hospital when he was shot? You don't know that they didn't. You don't know if they were in town. Like, what do you mean? Like, you basically just found out about these people like last week. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's just people aren't listening. They're like, like doing the vacuuming, playing a video game. Like, they're not like close listening to this because it's so like, it's made to tickle your brain, but like in the most superficial ways.
Gambling thing keeps coming up. And I guess as me and Charlie used to say, the rest is future. We'll be right back after a quick break. All right. I'm going to tell you about Nimi Skincare because it is the only...
Oh, is that her skincare line? Candace 10. No, we don't need to hear about that. Oh gosh, are we gonna go like? Is it gonna be more like mystery school stuff here?
And below. All right, now for some fun, because remember when they were freaking out about me discussing time travel? Me discussing specifically...
Oh, thank God! Finally. Someone said, yes, her live stream chat is crickets, which doesn't mean that it's all bots. It insinuates that it's all bots, but a lot of people just listen on sites like this without engaging. That's very common. It's very common to lurk, right? Does that mean that there are never any bots? No. Sometimes it's like obvious, like at the TPUSA thing. But a lot of people like listen and don't watch, which is why I read things out loud, or I try to, right? And that's why people sometimes go back and watch the video, like when it's clipped up and, they have time or something like that. So it's not unbelievable that people are not watching, they're just listening. But if a significant portion of her audience is like that, it does call into question whether it's bots. And then, if people are just kind of passively listening, then what they're actually taking in is it really depends. It heavily depends. If you're not sitting here and watching it, it's likely that you're only taking in every other word or something because you're probably not close listening.
Remember when they were freaking out about me discussing time travel? Me discussing specifically Project Looking Glass, the CIA thing that actually happened. They allegedly stole Sumerian technology to peer into the future. Well, you have to imagine my surprise when I began looking into Erica's early years. For some reason,
I will say it's not a problem to not close listen. I'm not telling you how to engage with your content. The content is used for entertainment. I'm just saying that like people aren't close listening to her, but like a lot of people who aren't, they are still getting unreasonably attached to what they think she might be saying. And also, as Americans are supposed to do because they have low self-esteem, supplanting them like their own identity and their own ego with her and her success. And so they won't cop to the fact that they're not really listening, which is what becomes frustrating. Where it's like, no, I'm totally listening. It's like, really? So like you listen to this part?
Well, you have to imagine my surprise when I began looking into Erica's early years. For some reason, I was under the impression, maybe you were too, but Erica moved to Arizona after her parents' divorce. So that would put her in Arizona after 1998. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here because it's a minor wrinkle, but her parents didn't divorce until she was 10.
She's Doc
But it's
Brown.
totally possible, like when you're a kid and your parents are separating many times before they get divorced, that you associate a divorce with a separation. Anyway, here's the true timeline. Erica was in Cincinnati, Ohio for daycare.
I will say, this is another little thing that people will do when they're kind of like make this kind of content. You see how a big part. Now I remember the early part of the video. In the early part of the video, the fact that the dates were kind of wrong in Erica's recollection for like when her family split up or like when the divorce was, the fact that the dates were kind of off was such a big point of suspicion. But now that she's moved past that point, she's like, oh yeah, when you split up a lot of times in the, in the timeline to fully breaking up or divorcing, sometimes you associate the divorce with different dates, like because when you were done with it. And now she's copping to that being like a totally legitimate thing, where in the beginning of this video, it was like a huge point of contention.
Anyway, here's the true timeline. Erica was in Cincinnati, Ohio for daycare in 1992. She attended a place called Walnut Corner Children's Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, located inside of a massive corporate building. Oddly, the filing for that daycare doesn't have a floor number, but I can show you this photo of her at daycare.
Oh my God, doing the Freemason hands. Okay, I'm bought in. This is crazy stuff from Candace. Really dirty stuff, but also like throwing up the rock. She's throwing up the rock at a young age. But okay, I'm bought in.
The way to her being dressed as a little bee and accidentally throwing up some Freemason hand signs. It's just like a nice ad. She looks adorable. Thereafter, she moves to Arizona and she attends a school that they have virtually tried to wipe from public existence. Now,
you think I'm messing with you. I know what I'm talking about. You think the things I say aren't true, like that people don't believe them, but obviously like that's the Freemason hand sign.
A school that they have virtually tried to wipe from public existence. Now, it's very difficult to explain this unless you're in the weeds, but there is another school by the same name that goes on.
I'm in the weeds if you know what I mean.
But this particular school came to fruition when a man named John T. Goley incorporated Educational Alternatives up in Minnesota. It was called Educational Alternatives Incorporated. Now, John T. Goley was a big guy. He had formerly helped launch Roundup Monsanto, just a little bit of government poisoning you, giving you a bunch of cancer. This time, though, he was pioneering charter schools in America. He teamed up with the Walton family, the Bush family.
That sounds like a fake name for sure.
Everybody involved in this
John
school
T. Goley.
that Erica's gonna attend.
What? CIA for sure.
It's interesting. I don't know. Don't you want to go to school where the Bushes, the Waltons, Monsanto is getting together a school? I don't know. Want to send your kids? Anyways, John T. Goley and Jeb Bush went on to Good Morning America to announce the project. The schools would come to be known as Tesseract schools, named after the children's book, A Wrinkle in Time. Story about time travel.
I thought it was named after
protagonists of that book fly through space and time using a Tesseract to rescue their family from evil forces. It's a battle between good and evil using time travel. And it's about to get even more fun because when these powerful families decided to start the Tesseract School in Arizona, they began with a small school in Paradise Valley first.
Okay.
It is that specific school that Erica attended that is virtually impossible to come by many documents regarding. They needed a space for the school, and they decided they were going to rent the building that was owned by a Jewish school. Forgive my terrible Hebrew, but the school, I kid you not, was called Gan Yaladim Looking Glass School. I just love this so much. So Tesseract was put into a looking glass. I just think it's fantastic. I just imagine they thought I was like dropping some clues. I was like, why are they all freaking out about this episode about Project Looking Glass? They probably thought I had already known that she went to this looking glass school. This little elite looking glass school.
She didn't go to an elite looking glass school. She went to a startup school that was put into a building that a Jewish school that had the word looking glass in the name used to be in. So like that's not what happened, Candace. I was listening. That's not what happened.
Started in Arizona. By the way, Tesseract, the school itself, is exceedingly Jewish in terms of the administration.
Whoa.
It was run by Jewish executive directors. The teachers are all Jewish. Obviously, you know me.
I forgot.
I'm nosy. I tracked down the yearbooks.
You know me.
I mean, I'm a
Kanye
really
fan. If you get me.
Off. And I can show you that Erica was at school.
God, we have got to get Candace and Demon Erasers together because like sometimes I forget who I'm listening to and that Candace will just immediately go, oh yeah, because they're Jewish. And I'm like, oh yeah, why am I even trying to debunk her? She's just like a raging anti-Semite now. But her and Demon Erasers would be having an amazing conversation.
know me, I'm nosy. I tracked down the yearbooks. I mean, I was working really hard while I was off. And I can show you that Erica was at school. I don't have every year yet, but I do have some years, 1995 to 1996 in first grade, 1996 to 1997 in second grade, and 1997 to 1998, which is her in third grade. I gotta tell you.
She's blown up her baby pictures online. Like Candace is straight up like monster with it. Like she will like reduce you to like dust. She will straight up dustify you. Like don't let her get her hands on your childhood photos.
I am so glad that I found this Tesseract. I didn't get to time travel with it. I don't think I did. You think they saw me in the looking glass? How panicked were they when I said looking glass? Whoa, no, she's talking about Project Looking Glass. That's crazy. Meanwhile, they're down in Arizona, like naming their schools.
Candace. You're Jester Maxson.
Project Looking Glass, like Looking Glass, Tesseract. Put them in the school. No. I just love that. It was like an accidental troll. But what is very exciting about finding her...
I would say that like if you happen to be somebody who was like talking about Project Looking Glass as part of your misinformation campaign, which is Candace Owens is doing, and this happened to be true, you would, chuckle to yourself like, like, what? Isn't that crazy? What a coincidence.
At this school is that it unlocked a lot of important things that needed to be known
Lock and
about
key.
Erica's life and her connections. I mean, wow. Speaking to people who went to that school,
that she's
the one in
Jewish?
Paradise Valley, to be very clear. There's other
Michael
Tesseracts.
Rappaport?
It got shut down. The one I'm talking about got shut down in the year 2000. And then other schools, because they had other schools, kept going. They changed ownership. But this one was there for a very small amount of time. I'm looking at the yearbooks, and there are some interesting players involved in this school.
Okay.
That kind of went down for fraud. Just robbing the piggy bank. It's like a
Yeah, because it was like a
recurring theme.
startup.
We're going to stop here,
America.
though, for today because that's a lot. I've given you a lot today to digest. And
I
we
disagree.
should probably get to comments. It's just a lot, guys. There's a lot going on with that Tesseract school. We'll be back after a short break. All right, you guys, between grocery...
Okay, I'm glad that we actually finished that one up because, I mean, it started out bad and it ended a little... Well, I mean, she's really good at the marketing. Because I would have said that if it had continued with the same kind of theming as the first part, if I remember correctly, I wouldn't have been really interested in watching episode 2. But since it ended with the time travel stuff, I'm a lot more interested in episode 2 because I'm hoping that it starts with the time travel stuff. But I think I might just be getting suckered into it again because, she really gets me. She gets me. All right, but I'm starting to get a headache, probably from all the high-level ideas that Candace Owens presented. Do you guys want to have some fun before we get out of here? Do you guys want to have... I know we had a really difficult day. Do you want to have some fun? I kind of like her top. Let's have some fun. I just have so many videos of drunk cops being arrested left over that I just feel like it'd be a shame to not show you at least one. And what's crazy
take a look at some...
What's crazy is that I meant to show you this video specifically last week when we were celebrating my birthday, but then we had like Saturday kind of be subsumed by the American invasion of Iran. Again, not that I'm complaining. I don't want to complain because, this is a legitimate channel that covers news, and I will never, ever, 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 ever apologize for covering the news. However, sometimes I want to cover other things. And let's see. Here we go. I mean, YouTube will probably be back up tomorrow or the day after. Depending on how I feel, I might, I'll see how tomorrow goes in terms of streaming. Okay, so I have two, but this is the one I'm hoping is good, especially since, man, it's a shame because the title ruins this video because the title is Police Chief Arrested for DWI at Over Triple the Limit. Someone was nice enough to explain to me, New Jersey. Someone was nice enough to explain to me how the European blood alcohol limits work, and it's just moving the decimal place over. It's just like move it over and you're fine. To the left, obviously, not to the right. Okay. Spoiler alert. I know. Well, we can. So you see, the reason I wanted to watch it is because this happened on my birthday last year. Point Pleasant Police Department, Point Pleasant, New Jersey, February 23rd, 2025. A lot of P's, a lot of plosives. Let's hit it.
I'll have a 65 with that vehicle from earlier, Beaver Dam at Riviera.
Ooh.
So sick, dude. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Oh, they're having a good night. Ooh, they're having a good night so far. You think their night's gonna continue to be good? Ooh, this is what is this? What is this literary device where you know something but the person, like the protagonist, doesn't? I guess that's what dramatic irony, literary irony. Not third person omniscient narrator. It's a lot of things, but let's see it play out.
So sick, dude. Hey, how you doing, sir? How are you? You got a license? Okay. You got a license as well? What are you doing, man? Leaving
the house.
I got that. Why are you putting your lights and sirens on, leaving the shore house?
Huh?
Why are you putting your lights and sirens on, leaving the shore house?
Oh, he was trying to impress his date. Oh, he was trying to impress his date in the car. Wasn't it? But he better be in the right. He better be right county with that.
I hate the intersection.
What's that?
I hate the intersection.
Oh, he's trash. No. Okay, everyone lock in. Oof. When things didn't turn, we gotta go back, because when things didn't turn out the way he was expecting, he immediately crumbled. Like, he went from kind of being okay to it just going like, ooh. This is like when I speak a foreign language. Like, have you ever had that, that thing where like you're good in a foreign language for like one or two interactions, but then someone says something off script and you're just like, the jig is up.
So sick, dude. Hey, how you doing, sir?
So sick, dude. It's real
How
sick.
are you? You got a license?
Okay.
You got a license as well? What are you doing, man? Leaving
the house.
I got that. Why are you putting your lights and sirens on, leaving the shore house?
Huh?
Why are you putting your lights and sirens on, leaving the shore house?
I hate the intersection.
What's that?
I hate the intersection.
Where you work at?
Total.
Where?
Total.
Say, Totowa?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that plate come back to, Mike?
You have a registration?
Last rainfall is Delta 46, Kilo Victor Zulu, construction not issue.
What brings you over here? Point.
Bullet plunge.
Bullet plunge? Okay.
That belongs to another PD.
I tried flagging you down.
Yeah.
How come you didn't stop?
I got it.
How come you didn't stop, man? Just trying to make sure you're all right. You threw your lights and sirens on in the parking lot.
Okay.
All right. Just hang tight, all right, man?
Oof. The anticipation. Damn, a lot of cops on the scene.
So he was down for Bill, he said.
Pull a rep plunge, he said.
Yeah, this guy looks intense. Like this guy, like he's about to go snap on this dude.
Where's he going to?
I didn't ask that yet.
This guy's like is like tweaking out, brother. This one
So obviously, at his position, he should know better than what he's doing.
This is the police chief. This is the police chief of a different county, in their county, drunk driving with the lights and sirens on. That's like, so that's what this is all about. That's why like there are so many cops there. In case you're late to joining us.
How bad was he when you walked up to the car? Be right back. Let me go make a phone call.
No, I don't want to see a phone call. Talk to him. Too much time has passed already. Make contact. Initiate. Hajime. That's right. Bring him out. Bring him out. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I love this. I love this Jason Voorhees first-person view. But let's move it. Let's move it forward.
Hey, sir. Would you mind just stepping out of the vehicle?
Uh-oh.
You don't have a duty weapon on you, do you?
No.
No. Just go over here, man.
It's good he's unarmed.
So, I mean, you know better than I gotta do my job, unfortunately.
How much of that?
How much you drank tonight, man?
Name close. Couple drinks.
Couple drinks? Okay. You willing to do some tests for us?
Huh?
You willing to do some tests for us?
Yes.
I can't hear.
Are you willing to do some tests for us?
Bro. Come on. He has to do the test. Do you know why? Do you know why he has to do the test? Because it was my birthday. It's my birthday. You got to do the test. You got to do the test, brother.
Okay. All right, man. So, we'll use this line. That'll be your guide. If you wouldn't mind staying on the line for me.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Do me a favor. Just put your feet together. Heel and toe together. Hands down by your side. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate the test. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask questions. All right, don't start until I tell you to start, okay? All right, so for this first test, one leg stand. Just want you to lift one foot of your choice, about 6 inches off the ground, keeping your toe pointed out, foot parallel to the ground, keep your knees straight. Look down at your toe and count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Keep going until I tell you to stop. Sorry?
Continuing?
I'm sorry? Yeah. Let me start over.
Wait.
So, with the feet together.
You're the police chief. You don't know. Yeah. What did he say? You're the police chief. You don't know. You don't know what the sobriety test is like? Crazy.
Do you want me to go over again? Yeah, let me start over. So, with your feet together, hands down by your side, you're going to lift one foot of your choice, about 6 inches off the ground. Keep your toe pointed outward, so parallel to the ground. You're going to keep your legs straight. Just don't start till I tell you to start, all right? Then looking down at your toe, you're going to count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. You're going to keep going until I tell you to stop.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for me? All right, when you're ready.
Okay.
You can start.
Wait, should he count out loud? He's
not
even counting
the instructions again.
Okay.
Okay. If I'm not talking loud enough, just tell me, all right?
It's all good.
All right. So, want you to lift one foot of your choice, about 6 inches off the ground. Yep. Keep your foot parallel to the ground, your toe pointed outwards.
Yep.
Look down at your toe and count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, and then keep going until I tell you to stop.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yep.
Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you can start. Remember to count.
He's doing the hokey pokey.
All right, man.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
Next test, walk and turn. So what I want you to do, if you could, right now, just put your right foot in front of your left. You with me, Carmen?
Yep.
All right.
Carmen?
Put your right foot in
San
front of your
Diego?
left, heel to toe. Going to use this line as your guide.
Yeah.
Hands down by your side. I'm just going to take a step over here so I can show you a little better. All right. Going to take 9 heel to toe steps, counting each step out loud.
Power stance.
All right. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. Each step's going to be heel to toe. On your 9th step, you're going to keep your front foot planted. Take a series of pivot steps. And you're going to take 9 return steps. 1, 2, 3. Each step's going to be heel to toe, walking in a straight line. You're going to count each step out loud. Do you want to take a few steps back? That way you have enough room? Yeah, that should be good. Yeah, so
it should be
right
fine.
line.
More than enough.
Yeah, so right foot in front of your left. Yeah, just hang on one sec. Just put your right foot in front of your left for me.
Right.
Yeah, right foot in front of your left, heel to toe. And do you want me to explain it again?
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions? No. All right, you can start.
No questions. I'm a genius. Total failure. No count.
Remember to count each one out loud.
9.
Yeah, count
9. Bro's too locked in to count out loud. He's just walking. He's just walking normal now.
9.
All right. You can just step over here. Just gonna check your eyes, all right?
Yeah.
You have any issues with your eyes?
No.
Okay. See the tip of my pen? Can you touch it for me?
Touch it?
Yeah, touch the tip of the pen. Just okay, perfect. So you're just gonna watch the tip of the pen. Take this off. All right. So you're just gonna watch the tip of the pen. All right. I'm gonna move the pen. I want you to follow with your eyes only. Don't move your head. All right. You understand?
Nah, bro doesn't have it. Sorry. No, come on. I can see it. I appreciate how good this particular recording. This cop really misses calling as a cinematographer because he's getting all the action. His eyes are jerky as hell. He got the drunk Bob. Nailed it. This guy should be filming Christopher Nolan movies. Yeah, no, he hasn't got it. No, come on. This is what season 5 of True Detective should be. It should just be like a team of specialists who go out and do DUI arrests. I think everyone would watch that.
You watching the pen?
You watching the pen, brother? Nah, he doesn't have it. his lady in the car has already called herself an Uber. That's what the alpha male's already talking about. Not loyal. Okay, I'm gonna skip through this because he doesn't got it. He's gonna make him nauseous.
Chief, I'm sorry to do it to you, man, but you know what I gotta do. Alright? Obviously, you've been drinking a little too much. You're having trouble standing. Alright? Who are these two in the car?
Friends.
Friends? You said one of them lives on Bay Isle?
Huh?
One of them lives on Bay Isle? Sorry, you said one of them lives on Bay Isle?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, sir. I'm gonna have to place you under arrest for DUI. Alright? I'm not gonna do it behind your back, alright? Alright, man? See your hands?
Not today either.
Sorry?
Here, the
I'm sorry, man. I gotta do my job, unfortunately.
Yeah, he can't understand
Being in
you.
this situation, this is not the thing that I want to do tonight. I promise you that. You say you don't have your duty weapon on you, right?
No.
Alright.
I have my normal gun.
Where in the car? Is that? It's locked on the car.
Okay. Is there a rifle or anything also in the car?
You need anything out of your car? Wallet? Anything like that?
No.
Okay. Alright, sir. We're just gonna come over my vehicle, alright? Sir, just so you know, everything's recorded back here, right? Alright, you can have a seat. Put it down, yeah. You got it.
We'll have 141.
Womp womp. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Another poor police officer being arrested. That his son?
Alright, sir. You can have this way. $41 out for release.
Heavy.
Alright, sir. Straight ahead. Just make a left. This way, sir.
It sounds like Vinny. A little bit like Vinny.
Right.
What's the bonus footage? He's just walking.
Cool. You hop on in there.
Oh, that's just from when they were helping the ladies earlier. Okay. Wow. Wow. What a perfect way to end perhaps imperfect stream. It's going to be an awkward day at work tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, not really, because every cop gets stopped for a DUI at least once in their career, it feels like, based on the endless number of content that we seem to come across. The PBD boys definitely have Iran content, but we're obviously out of time now. I apologize for the not so great quality of the stream today, given the various things that, kind of impeded us from doing what we normally do. But hopefully YouTube will be back up in the morning, tomorrow morning, so we can, get to the point where we can just go back to our normal structure. I will say we're doing really well on Twitch. We are almost at 6,000 followers on Twitch. So if we get 9 more followers before the end of the stream, we'll be at 6,000. Beautiful. Beautiful. You love to see it. And obviously Twitch is no less important to me than YouTube is. So I love to give love to Twitch. And I'm definitely going to get the bingo card. I've been thinking about the bingo card, so I'm going to get that done too. Now we're only 5 away from 6,000. I'm not going to beg, though. I'm not going to beg. If you want to follow, if you want to subscribe, you can. I'm going to get the raid going on Twitch, since that's all we are on today. And then we will thank you, New Vegas resident, for the subscription. Ladcan, thank you for the subscription with Prime. Like, yeah, apparently if you have Amazon Prime, I didn't know this, but you get like a free Twitch subscription. So if you want to subscribe to me with that, you get like extra benefits. I think no ads and stuff. So that's nice. I think you get it for free if you have Amazon Prime, which I know if you live in a place that has like next day Amazon delivery, like it makes a lot of sense for people to end up getting it. I remember when I ended up with Amazon Prime in the pandemic for the first time, because they were like, you're ordering like stuff via Amazon, we'll give you free Amazon Prime and your stuff will come tomorrow and you'll get all these videos. Like, oh, okay. So if you'd like to, you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. The raid is hit it. It's initiated. Oh, I definitely gotta take a acetaminophen. How does Trump pronounce it? Tylenol. I gotta take a Tylenol because I have a headache. Ugh. The raid has started. Let's see. Now we're only 3 away. That's fine. Well, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the birthday week that we had together. I'm sorry that it seemed to come to such a, indelicate end with the invasion of Iran. But I appreciate all of you, and I continue to look forward to our streams every day. And I, even when stuff like this happens, I can't believe I got overthrown by gusanos in my own stream. I'm gonna get banned from Twitch for using like anti-white Cuban slurs. But I think I feel like slurs work where like you can use the ones that like are encompassed by minority groups that are lower than you on the totem pole in the American hierarchy. Doesn't matter though. It really is just crazy circumstance. I'm gonna have a lot of I think anxiety about the no guns on stream rule, because we cover like war all the time. I would have never thought that was a thing for all of the reasons that you would imagine it would be difficult to actually enforce. But like, yeah, like we cover like conflict consistently. So it can't be the first time that there were guns on stream. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I appreciate all of you for having a great day. Bye-bye. I think the raid went off. It did go off. Okay. Bye-bye.